Damn sure. Coming in hot. Too hot. Hi, Kyle. How are you? Yes. Mostly because Slayer is getting back together, but other than that, this is the only good news I had this fucking week. Oh, yeah. You guys want more? That's all you really want. This guy in the thumbnail is exactly the type of guy I imagine is in the chat when I do Access Vegas. Exactly that dude. Okay, settle down.
Rate me on a scale from 1 to 10, but first, take a good look.
I'm gonna say hard 4.
What? That's kind of low. What could be better?
Well, your foundation doesn't match your neck, you got fake tits, and your eyes are kind of spread far apart.
How do you know they're fake?
Just by the whole overall body size, that does not match up.
That was kind of rude. Thank you.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Just be yourself, not because it will make you more likable, it won't, but because it's only by being yourself that you'll find people who like you for who you really are rather than someone you're pretending to be. That's from Gwynda Bogle. And this was one of the biggest realizations of my 20s. The advantage of doing this thing where you sort of push off who you really are is that no criticism will ever fully land because you're 1 degree removed from the person who's being criticized. The disadvantage,
So basically all you have to do is like dissociate your personality from yourself and talk in the third person.
is that you're also removed from the person who's being complimented. And if you're only playing a role, you never fully feel connected to the successes that you have in your life. Any accolades or warmth that you receive won't resonate properly in your heart because it's not you who's receiving it. It's the character that you're pretending to be.
Got it. Okay. So be yourself, but don't be yourself. But what about this, Chris?
For gurus online seems to boil down to just be successful, bro. Given that women rate 80% of men as physically unattractive and 50% of men are below average intelligence, what's the advice for those 40% of men? The bar is set unbelievably low. Like the average American man is obese, divorced, and with less than 1K in the bank. I think that the internet...
Wait. So those red pill guru guys are right?
over indexes on objective metrics of success and doesn't account for what happens in person. You will
make up your fucking mind, bro.
See regularly people and guys that are charismatic, funny, sexy in person, batting way outside of their league if you were to just look at them from an online perspective. Basically, I would say don't overthink what the internet says. Dude, if you
So don't be yourself, but be yourself and don't overthink it. Got it, man.
you go to the gym 3 times a week for a year, you're probably in the top percentile of all fitness people on the planet. If you
What if that's not who I really am inside?
you spend $300 on a relatively okay wardrobe, you're probably better dressed than most of the guys that you're going to walk past. Just try a bit and you will already be probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
But wait, I thought we were supposed to be ourselves. I don't track. Well, maybe it's because you've been, plagiarizing my work.
Put an awful lot of attention to the plight of young men, and he's tried to simplify down a world which teaches young men that they are defective women. Most of the advice that we hear for young men.
What? Wait a minute. Where have I heard that advice?
And at the moment is, if you were just less like men, if you just behaved a little bit more like women, if you talked about your feelings a little bit more, if you communicate, if you were more gentle, if you were less concerned with mastery and competition and conquer and becoming better and stuff like that, you know, some of the typical masculine traits, your life would be better.
Any that sound familiar to you, class? Anybody? Bueller, hello.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
Oh, God.
And of women say they want a man to make the first move. A different study said that 50% of men say that they're afraid of making the first move for being seen as creepy. Another study said that 20% of Gen Zers say that a man approaching a woman sometimes or always constitutes harassment. So you have a world in which women are scared of being approached, Men are scared of doing the approaching. People will judge many men, at least 1 in 5 men that do that, as being harassers. But everybody understands that if the guys don't make the first move, nothing's going to happen. If guys do make the first move, they're scared of being Me Too'd. Girls are scared of being approached by guys that they don't know, but also still know that they need the guys to make the first move 86% of the time, because that's the percentage. I was like, isn't that fucking interesting?
But aren't they supposed to be concerned with being themselves? I don't know, man. This is so confusing.
Blue for you?
No, I don't think so.
How did it affect you personally or emotionally?
My emotional baseline is just really, really, really high. So as long as I'm not like, my life isn't, if I go to sleep, I wake up, usually a little bit better every day, and I just kind of, keep going.
Was there any financial impact of having a divorce?
No, I just have to worry about myself now.
Interesting. So it wasn't like expensive. You didn't have to pay out anything.
I think I paid like $2,000 for an attorney and all the filing fees or whatever. Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Was it no
Well, when your wife is only with you for a green card, that's about the cost of it.
contest divorce? I mean, it's super cheap. Yeah.
You hear a lot of people say, oh, you're going to lose half.
Yeah, most people are retarded. First of all, only.
Okay. Here's the funny part is he's trying to downplay this shit, but he's like, no, wasn't that bad. The funny thing is that when you listen to Destiny, he like talks, everything's like a rapid fire machine gun. Unless he's kind of being cagey and he's lying, then it's like, no, it's okay. Fine.
10% of marriages, the end of them even involve alimony. Division of assets is probably a good thing.
I'm pretty sure more than 10% of marriages involve alimony. That's something we're going to have to talk about with James Sexton soon.
Should be dividing assets. You probably should be losing half because you're losing half your partnership that you used to acquire those assets, right? If you're a man and you work and the only reason you were able to afford that house because a wife stayed home and took care of kids, then yeah, of course she should be entitled to something. Like she sacrificed her entire career and enabled you and empowered you to go and work that job.
Do you regret having
But yet you only paid $2,000.
your relationship so public? And would you get married again?
I don't know. I'm not like a big marriage guy. We got married because she needed the green card to live in the U.S. because I don't want to have a long distance relationship.
Well, at least we're coming to Jesus.
Women end most marriages. They're correct. Women do. But do you want to know why? Because one, they have more choice now than they've ever had before.
Especially in what the Netherlands, where was that kid from?
They're not punished as much as they were before. So that influences and skyrockets their ability to choose differently. Also, it's just not enough help in the home. Women.
All of this stuff is exactly the reason that that Destiny gave for why there's such a high incidence of divorce, and now he's on the other side.
Women are leaving marriages because they're not getting help in the home. That's the number one reason they report. And yet that goes against what they're teaching their audience.
Okay. False. That is not the number one reason they report. I'll explain to you in a moment.
Is, they're there to serve you. They're there to cater to you. You're the king. If you have that mentality, expect to get divorced. It's not, and also this, it's not that women are unwilling to help in the home. Women aren't necessarily unwilling to help or cater to their partners. What they don't want to feel like is your servant. That's the difference.
You put the woman that you're attracted to on a pedestal. What you're really attracted to is your unconscious idealization of women. And
if I close my eyes hard enough, I'll remember what I'm supposed to say.
Men see their unconscious idealization of women in someone they're attracted to, especially if the attraction is pronounced and immediate, right? That's a projection, psychoanalytically speaking. And then they confuse the woman with that idealization, which is very difficult to bear for the woman because she's not really there. That's the first problem. And second, she's going to get herself in trouble and not know it because now and then she's going to do something that violates that ideal projection and be called to account for it, even though she doesn't know what rules she's breaking. Plus, the guy won't be able to listen to her or appreciate anything about her that's not perfect or in accordance with that ideal. So that means she can't really talk to him, right? She can't reveal anything that's untoward or lived across the street from me in this little town that we grew up in called Fairview, Alberta. I think I fell in love with her the moment that I saw her, although I don't think the feeling was necessarily mutual. And so I was about like 7, I think, something like that. So I've known her for 48 years. But yeah, I mean, I told my dad when I was in grade 5, I was sitting with her on this big armchair in our living room, and she was sitting beside me on the armchair, which I was pretty damn thrilled about. And she was being chased around by all the boys in the school at that point, even though that was in the elementary school, And so I was pretty happy to have her sit by me. Anyways, she left, and I told my dad that I was going to marry her. And I remember that. And he told that story at our wedding, which was quite cute.
What?
I didn't date you for your money. I fell in love with your heart.
Well, then just sign the prenup and let this love story begin.
Love stories don't begin with prenups.
This one does.
Women don't need men for money.
Oh.
Statistics show single women own more houses than single men.
Yeah, from divorce.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
Where would we be without Big Mo? Big Mo is the best addition to the manosphere. Well, ever, really. Oh, yeah. If you were wondering if today was going to be a video heavy show, you were right. Oh, boy. Well, what should we start with today, children? Where should we go first, huh?
Hello there, children. How's it going?
Let me clear some of these things out of here first. Shall I do announcements first? Okay. Oh boy, really already? If Alex from Date Psych and Chris Williamson believe what they believe, why don't they become fat and see if any woman would love them for them? Well, I'll tell you what's funny is I just want to do a big shout out to Alex from Date Psych because apparently he watches every fucking minute of this show. How do I know that? Well, maybe you guys remember this from last Sunday, but I mentioned something to the fact that Chris Williamson, I have never seen the dude with anyone but other dudes. I have never seen him in a TikTok video, in a reel, in a story, in a short, no matter what. I have not seen this dude with a single female. I mean, hot or other. I mean, that he's not working with. I shouldn't say that. I have seen him with like Michaela Peterson, and I'm fairly sure she's not dating him right now. Maybe she would like to, but there's a lot of really semi-attractive women who would like to date homosexuals. So there you have it. It's zing. But yeah, I have not seen that. Neither have I seen any pictures of Alex from Date Psych with any chick until Tuesday of last week. Bravo. There you go. He's got some chick with him. Like he's got these shots of him and some girl that you don't know. You can't see her face. And I don't blame him for that. You can own that. I don't go throwing out, pictures of my wife or anything, but she's like this. She's like, and all you see is her just like kind of draped across his lap or something like that. And like, here we are on the beach and like, oh, look, here's some shots of us. I'm like, bravo. Okay, Alex, I'll stop saying I have never seen you with a chick before. Although I guess we're supposed to infer that this is some chick that you've been with, your girlfriend or whoever. Bravo. Good for you. Glad. Carry on. Still waiting on that Chris Williamson one though. I did see that Chris Williamson, most of it. I think I might. Would you guys like to shall we opine on the Chris Williamson, Ricky Gervais? No, it's not Ricky Gervais. Shall we? To Pierce Morgan? Shall we opine upon that? Maybe we should. In a way, Michaela Peterson represents what Jordan's wife thinks of him, like Willow Smith does Jada when she wrote that letter to Tupac's ghost. Yep. Well, would you like to? Should I really bash on Jordan Peterson again? People might think I'm professionally jealous. Why do you have such a problem with Jordan Peterson? I don't have any fucking problem with the fact that he's a bald-faced liar most of the time. But and sometimes, I don't even necessarily need. You think so? Thank you, member, for 10 months. It is kind of. Do you guys remember this was? And he's quickly got out of this look or this phase. But Chris Williamson used to have like that porn stash, like big cum catcher fucking porn stash, for a while, and then he quickly shaved that bitch off, man. But yeah, well, I was gonna say, well, okay, here we go. We got to do it today. Yes, Slayer. What's great about Slayer is like you don't just say Slayer. If you see somebody that's into Slayer, you just Slayer, you like that, and they're like, yeah, and they know to do it back. That's the best thing about Slayer fans, by the way. But yeah, Slayer is coming out of retirement for only 2 shows, and one's at Riot Fest. And I will tell you, I have no desire to go to Chicago, Illinois, but you just gave me a desire to go to Chicago, Illinois. I might have to go do it. Maybe I'll go stay with Tori. I'll go stay with Torsha in Rockford, and then I'll make my way up to Riot Fest. How's that? Maybe you guys can see. Maybe I'll wouldn't that be cool? I could do like this on the road kind of thing. Maybe I could do a bunch of stories on my way to go see Slayer. I would go see them. I saw Slayer in that was this shirt actually, 2017. And that was right before, and that was like the end of the road kind of tour for them. Cause I don't think they've actually even been together since like 2018, 2019. And that's when they just said, we're calling it quits. And it really was more like Tom Araya, singer, who was just, tired. And I get it, man. I mean, all they're doing is just like touring all the time. But they got talked into it somehow. If you know the story behind that, it's really kind of funny because there's this ongoing Slayer is in sort of a red pill. This is red pill adjacent at the very least, right? Tom Araya got talked into doing at least those 2 shows. And people were saying it was because of the trolls who kept saying, you got to come back. And he was just getting badgered by all these things. And so they wore him down. It wasn't. It was actually his wife that wore him down. And now she's on blabbermouth.net.com talking about how it wasn't the trolls. It was actually her. And she was encouraging him to, get back and get playing again. And I think it was really more about the touring and the constant touring. And so it's much better. And this, speaking as a professional failed musician, right? Aren't we all, Kyle? We're all failed musicians at this point. Even Phil from All That Remains is a quote unquote was accused of being a failed musician. Well, let that one digest for a little bit. But no, I mean, the only way to really make any kind of money these days, you can't make money off of, getting plays on Spotify. I mean, I saw this, what was it? It was Peter Frampton of all people. And Peter Frampton is like 65, maybe 70. He's got to be in his 70s at this point. He was talking, he was doing an interview and somebody asked him about like Spotify. And he goes, I have had something like, what was it, 7 million downloads or 7 million plays of Show Me the Way from back in like the 1970s. And he showed this, the receipt for it. And I think he made like $1,700 after 7 million like plays or whatever, however they pull that shit on Spotify. And basically saying they're what's wrong with the music industry. If you ever wonder why music sucks, it's because what's the point? You can go play live. Go support live music. So that's probably the best way you can do it because musicians don't make money off of Spotify now. And so when I hear Slayer's coming back, I'm like, yeah. And they're doing a festival show, a Riot Fest, and then there's another one too. There's 2 of them, but Riot Fest was the one I remember, and which I really would like to go to. I just have never had any reason to go to Chicago, but thank you. Well, why thank you for, wait a minute. You know what? You're pretty cool too, Kyle. Kyle, your stuff's pretty good. We ought to do a show, man. We ought to do something together like me and he's in a common ground. We should definitely do a show together. How awesome would that be? Do like a Red Pill gig. I wonder how many people would show. We should do a Red Pill music festival. We'll do it in Las Vegas. I bet we could probably do it at Vamped or something like that. There used to be Psycho Fest in Las Vegas, but I think they didn't do it last year. They might do it again this year. But that would be a lot of fun. But I mean, it's, first of all, I can understand it's Slayer because everybody wants to see them and the touring's got to be grueling. But at this point, Slayer doesn't need, I mean, they got enough money. They don't have to go tour. They're doing it for the fans and they're just because they love to do it. And probably the road crew is happy to do it too because they're actually making money. But you don't make money off of music. You make it off of merchandise. You make it off of festival gigs. If you're wondering why there's so many festivals right now, that's why. Because individual bands, unless you're like Taylor fucking Swift or you're like some really nationally, national act, like a nationally known act, you're probably going to be playing music fest. And even then, you'll probably still be playing festivals because that's the only thing that's really kind of economically efficient to do things like that. So I'm always looking for like Cyclefest. I'd love to play there. I want to play what's the one in Daytona? Rockville. I would like to play Rockville at some point with Trial of Ascension, which, by the way, we are just about done with both EPs. We have 2 concept EPs that are coming out. One is called Purgatory, and the other one's called Euphoric, and they're kind of like yin yang kind of thing. There's four songs on each one, and we're gonna release. We're like front loading one so that when the other one is sort of hitting, then we're like peaking. Then we're gonna launch the other one too, and they're meant to be like played together. They're companions, let's just say, for lack of a better term. Dude, come on now. Really? Rat, of course. I like Rat. I don't have any problem with Rat. It's just a different flavor of Taco Bell, right? it's just different ingredients, correct? Let's see. Gosh, you guys, I gotta clear you out already. Jeez, I'm already getting lots of these. Thank you, by the way, for watching Thursday's shining episode of Access Vegas. We had Andrew Wilson on, and we had Dave Cooley from No Fugazi, who I didn't know this. They are in Pennsylvania, or is it Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Somewhere. He said Pennsylvania, so I don't know exactly where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's got to be either Philly or Pittsburgh. I don't know. Anyways, I got some choice comments about that. In fact, I might even just read one or two of these, but it might be better to just simply paraphrase them. But that's actually what that show, and by the way, your hate comments, here you go. Here's that red meat you asked for, because this is really where we're going with this. I learned some valuable fucking lessons on the Access Vegas on Thursday. And one of them is this shit's never gonna cease. That's why I played my classic intro for this show, for the Rational Male, which is, of course, the Gladiator intro, which I used from like day one, I think. But the reason I use, dude, really, how long are we going to do this? Rat, in this case, Rat, only because, well, God, it's hard. Rat, I'll just say Rat, because Rat, they're an LA band. And I remember Robin Crosby before he died too. Really, is that what we're gonna do today? Am I gonna be fielding like classic metal questions? Only make one or the other. Don't give me more than one choice, more than two choices, okay? Just two choices. Thank you, Sam Whiskey, for the $6 million dog, who is doing much better, by the way. He is going to eventually have to have a bone marrow treatment of some sorts, but I've decided not to do that until we get to Vegas. The Vegas trip is this week. So Thursday, I am packing up not a whole lot, but a just enough to survive for my residency. My Las Vegas residency begins March 1st. I will roll Tomasi. I need to make t-shirts. The Tomasi residency, kind of like the Jonas Brothers, or isn't the Scorpions? The Scorpions are like do they have a Las Vegas resident? Celine Dion. There you go. Carrot Top. He's on residency. Who else is on residency there? Roll Tomasi will be on Las Vegas residency starting March 1st. There you go. Get your tickets now. Sunday. This is the last show I will be doing in this studio for the foreseeable future. And that's another reason I played the classic intro. No cry, no tears. No, don't. I'm coming back. I'm not leaving. This is the Northern Command Center. I'm just going to spend more time in the Southern Command Center for a little while. So the next show that I do, next Sunday's show, will be live from Red One Studios in Las Vegas rather than here in Reno, Nevada, biggest little city. So this is going to be the last installment with this background here. Although I see, don't you love the hex here? Like I did this on purpose, because I'll tell you what, man, I started using the background, like the soundproofing background, which, by the way, this is soundproof background here too. It's quite a bit more expensive than the regular kind. Just throwing that out there. But I started doing the opposite thing with my acoustic there, and everyone and their mother decided that they wanted to start doing that too. Pearl. And not just that, but everybody started doing it. And then, of course, putting some lights on it, because you can get, you get nice little effects, little textures and shit going on in the back there. I'm going to do something similar for Red One down in Vegas as well. Just because it's nice. I think it looks good. Am I selling oil? What kind of, here's that attention you wanted, doobie, before we surreptitiously blow you out. You want the honors? I'll give you the honors. You could go ahead and do that. Thank you. Selling oil. What kind of oil? Essential oils? Like CBD oil? What kind of oil? Like, if you got to be fucking specific, you're going to be a troll. I expect you to be very fucking specific about your trolling, because otherwise it's just going to be get out. Right? I need to know what kind of oil. Motor oil? What grade? 1040? 3060? Whatever. 2-stroke? 4-stroke? What is it? Come on. What kind of oil am I selling, motherfucker? Come on, bring it. What kind of oil would Rollo sell? Snake oil. See, this is what I mean. This is why you get this today. By the way, thank you, bro. That's you. Let's see if I can do this. You want more? I'll give you more. See, that's the thing is, you know what? I'm just going to go and see if I can read a few of these things. I had, where'd it go? One of these, maybe I ought to do this sometimes. You guys really need to see like what my life is like when I'm offline and I'm off air. If you were to go and look at my, my YouTube, like mentions, like, or a mention, well, that too. But if you were to go and look at my YouTube impressions, like your suggested videos, like, hey, we think you'd be interested in watching this video. Most of my videos is things that I look at on, I'm looking at it now, sorry. Most of the things I have, okay, so here's what I got. Okay, all, that's when you start with. Then I've got live, I guess that would be like live streams. Then the next one, these are all the ones like your interests, according to YouTube. Okay. Music. Okay. Granted. Gaming. As long as it's like, I don't have any like video games, unless it's Homeworld. I play Homeworld, but other than that, it's usually like Warhammer 40,000, like, tabletop gaming. That's what I get into. Podcasts. There you go. Now, if we click on podcast, an electric guitar, and let's see what else is in there. Dark ambient. Ooh, what's wrong with Rollo? Posts, podcasts. There we go. Okay. So if you were to go and look at actually, you know what? Let's just do this. I against my better judgment, I'm actually going to show you my feed here. You guys, want an insight into my psyche? Here you go. No, that's not there. You really danger, Wilbur, danger ahead. Like spoiler alert. He turned back now. Here we go. Oh Lord. So let's see. I got No Fugazi up here. I've got Masculinity Rocks. This dude gets no views. But this is a come up. He's one of these guys that is trying to like build a channel off of other people's channel, like rehashing or reproducing other people's channels. So I can't like fault him for that. Actually, I would say go follow this dude. No Fugazi obviously is up there because we just had Dave Cooley on the show. Rob Moore, no idea who that motherfucker is. The Crucible, well, that's Andrew Wilson, obviously. Myron and Fresh, but it's not Myron and Fresh so much. It's Clips TV that gives me these are all impressions. Okay, this is what it says. This is what we think you'd like to watch. Okay. Well, of course, Mike Sartain shows up in my feed. Let's see who else is in here. Oh, Amala decided that she wanted to talk shit about the red pill. So here's your fucking attention you wanted, Amala. Unless you're ready to explain to me and say my name, talk about somebody who is in the red pill, and you want to say, oh, these red pill guys, all of these name the fucking names or get the fuck out. Okay. Name names or get the fuck out. And that ought to be everyone. By the way, anybody who's watching watching this feed right here, anybody that's doing these kinds of podcasts right here, this should be your default response. Okay. That right there should be your default response. Fuck off, get out. Until you're ready to name names, get the fuck out. Because you don't believe in your own bullshit. And all this is just you trying to ride that motherfucking train. That's what it is. The red pill train is choo choo. That's you getting on the fucking train. And until you're ready to name fucking names, shut the fuck up. Unless you're ready to say my name, Myron Gaines, hell, now you can say Dave Cooley, Andrew Wilson, even if they're red pill adjacent. If you're going to say all these red pill guys say X, you better be ready to name names, and you better be ready for me to call you out, because that is what I will do immediately. Immediately, I will do that. All right, here we go. Let's have a look here. What else do we got here? 46-year-old woman runs off the podcast. Okay, that's a hot commodity. Psychologist spoke facts on why women never apologize. Well, okay, that's old news. That's 5 months ago. It's funny. How am I getting shit from 5 months ago? If that's, I don't think I seen the clip. I did see the actual full video way back when. Oh, look, there's me. Let's see, back to the roots. No idea. Never heard of these guys before, but you can see how many people are rebroadcasting this shit. Okay. My work, everyone else's work. Oh, good. Well, thank God we've got Lex Friedman up there. How much sex and fighting in a relationship? That's a big one. Look, 53,000 on that. Let's see. No Fugazi got 40K on this one. That's good. Look, I got 61K. I win. You're a beta male. That was 1 month. Really? This was 1 month ago? Oh, it's because, see, this is how much of a hack and a grifter Destiny is. It's like, even when it's like the show is clearly about tearing him down for his divorce with Melina, he'll still go do it. He doesn't care. He's a fucking whore. He's a prostitute. They'll go and do that. They'll do anything for fucking clicks. That's why he's on with fucking Jesse Peterson, Jesse Lee Peterson. That's amazing. That's why he pulls shit like this. He doesn't care. Most of these guys, and by the way, I should probably explain my thinking on this. Too many people think that there's no such thing as bad press. Yeah. If you lived in the 1920s and your name was P.T. fucking Barnum, yeah, there's no such thing as bad press. But we live in 2024, and there is most definitely something called bad press. Don't believe me? Why isn't Jared still the spokesperson for fucking Subway right now? Go look that up. Why? Bad press. Hey, all press is good press. Let's throw Jared out there again and go, let's get him out. Let's break him out of prison and put for you know what. Let's put him out there as our spokesperson again. Why not? No press is bad press. No, it is. And it can be. And people need to break out of this bullshit. All right, here we go. Well, of course, we've got Tim Pool in there. Boy, this is entertaining, isn't it? Who is it? Oh, Trigonometry. This was just 2 hours ago, and they're already at 33,000 views. Bravo. Well done. Peak woke. Okay, if you talk shit about wokesies, then you're gonna probably get views. Let's see. Oh, well, anything. This is a clips though. I mean, I can't begrudge Andrew this, but anything that's a clip, anything that's a hot take. What is it? I will help around the house. Oh, that sounds good. Why did I name today's? Like, if you look at today's topic, what did I title today? Feminist. This is me, by the way. I mea culpa. You got me. I put this on here as bait, okay? Obviously. Feminist 304 cries in heated debate with Rollo on OnlyFans, instantly regrets it. That's every one of those like those little phrases on there is something you'll see in feeds like mine. Let's see. Your value now is extremely low. Well, that ought to be triggering. Let's have a look. 94,000 people wanted to see that one. Let's see. I'm a content creator. This is me, for fuck's sake, okay? Don't get too much out of this. I'm sorry, Mike. I love you, but like Mike doesn't have the same following as most of these guys. Aaron Clare. Actually, Aaron Clare's been doing pretty well lately. I think he got up and over like 50,000 or 60 something. What is Aaron at right now? What do we got here? Man Guide. The Man Guide gets 24K 7 months ago for men. You can't walk away forever. Oh, yeah, we can. We can run away. We can walk away whenever we want. Like, this kind of stuff appeals to that fucking emotionality. I'm going to see if I can find some of these other channels that are sort of coming out of the woodwork right now. They're like zero or what? No, they're called faceless channels, right? They're basically created by AI, but you want to talk about a demographic of guys who are so easy to just gobble this shit up is that, especially if you could do something like stoicism. I should look up stoicism. You go and you look up stoicism and you'll see these faceless channels where they're basically just looking up You're looking up stoicism, but it's not stoicism. It's whatever like plays to that bitch got hers, the comeuppance narrative, anything that plays up to like sort of pro revenge fantasy, anything like that, like walking away, passport bros, walk away, just walk away. You walk away. Yeah. What do we got here? Democrats. Okay, so now we're getting even the political shit doesn't look at this is only an hour ago. And if you go and you look at the difference between this. Look at this is Timcast, and this is was the clip? Yeah, 11 minutes, 9 seconds. It's been out for an hour, 7.8 thousand views. And if we go up to what was it? Was it trigonometry? There. This has only been out. Trigonometry has only been out for 2 hours, and it's at 33,000. Why? Because they're hitting on Barbie. They're hitting on, let's see, has Hollywood reached peak woke critical drinker? Okay. That plays better to this demographic anyways, than anything about Trump. This is pretty good though. 5 hours ago, 71,000. But what is he talking about? Man charged with felony for doing burnout on pride flag. People love that shit. They love red meat, man. Let's see. Dragon ships there. Okay. What else do we got here? Don't know what the fuck that is. Nobody cares. Yeah, definitely nobody cares. This is 6 months ago, so I can't really use that as something that's current. Oh, look, there's Jasmine Jafar. Whatever. I can't even believe I'm saying that chick's name. Yes, I'll explain to you what happened. Nobody cares. Oh, look, here we go. Pearl and the boys. Once again, I will give you my opinion on that as well today. Let's see. No one gives a shit about you. This is 2 months ago. Okay, 243,000 views. Not too bad, but it's always going to be that way. And remember, this is healthy mindset that is basically riding, once again, the Andrew Tate train, which they have to do as best they can for the time being. 3 weeks ago, this was not even that versus Glenn Greenwald. They're trying to make him look, this is stupid face video or stupid face thumbnail, which was masterminded, of course, by Mr. Beast. You got, what is it? Is it Glenn Greenwald? Is that who it is? I forget who this guy is. Who's the schmarmy looking guy? Like they got the one serious guy on the left, and they got Destiny looking completely unhinged on the other side. Here's a good one. Musicians react to this one right here. If you look at this, that's stupid face thumbnail right there. You make the biggest, dumbest, stupidest face you possibly can, and people are supposed to react to it, which might have worked right up until 2020, maybe. Now everybody's used to this shit. Let's see. Well, there's mine. Like this is from. This was this from a clip ago? Oh, this was 6 days ago. This was last week's show. So there you go. We're only at 21,000. But again, it's a 3-hour video. Amala, of course, she's getting play out of this. He told the truth and had to go under police protection for doing it. Who? Here we go. Much better. Women are bullshit. There you go. Pearl finished modern women on lying on men with domestic abuse issues. Ha! Crushed, destroyed. I want her, not Lizzo. This was actually pretty funny. This should have more views than it actually does. You're a simp. 2003. This is 1 month ago. He's at 203,000 for this. That's pretty good. But again, Strike It Big podcast is pulling this off of Myron and Fresh. Let's see who else is on. Anyways, you guys get the idea. I don't need to belabor this for too long, but that's what I'm getting at today, because the landscape in the sphere is changed, much changed. So when I was, let's see, where did it go? When I was doing the Access Vegas show, switch over. Thank you. When I did Access Vegas, I could show you these. Maybe I will. I'll show you some of these comments here. Hang on. Live. And where did it go? Here we go. Much better. I apologize for a quick second here. Pull that off. Okay. I just want to read some of these. Okay. These are some of the comments from Access Vegas. In fact, maybe I will put these up. This is how trust me, this is how I wanted to start the show today. Where there is actually a point to all this. Where to go? There we go. Okay. Now we are going to read some of these comments, which were, okay. These twins would be lucky to share one brain. They're sharing half a brain. Got it. Thanks. How it took, this was 2 days ago. And this is like what people like, how many comments are there's 304 on this. It's actually on the other on the Access Vegas channel. There's probably more. Andrew Wilson came in taking no prisoners, taking no prisoners. Love it. These chicks don't get an ounce pushback in their day-to-day lives. I think you'd be wrong about that. Anytime a woman says it's not what you say, but how you said it, it's complete and total lie, and I can prove it. Okay, prove it. Pearly thinks, yes, I know, Rollo hates her, thought the same thing about Myron when she started her panel show. She thought that as a woman, she could just say it in more nicely, and they would accept it coming from another woman. After a few short months, what are you writing a story here? Into her podcast, she realized that Myron was right. No, she realized how to play the game just like Myron does. She doesn't believe in any of this bullshit. Let's just be honest here. A few short, let's see what else is. It doesn't matter how you say it, but it's the message itself they don't want to hear. Sounds like something Rollo would have said, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. Not only that, but the longer she did her podcast, the more she realized that it was not only Myron was right, but she couldn't see how he managed to do a panel show 3 times per week. Back then, he was doing them 5 times per week with a room full of delusional women and keep his sanity. After 1 year and talking to 1,000 women, she had to abandon her panel show to keep from going crazy. No, she had to abandon her panel show because nobody wanted to come on her fucking show. She tapped out all of her options. That's why she abandoned her panel show. Let's just be honest here. The mainstream media likes to refer to her as the female Andrew Tate. Yes, because she's a patsy and she's their fall guy and she is their convenient foil. But I think she is actually the female Myron Gaines. Oh, well, she is now. If she wasn't before, she is now. Anyone who watched her panel show from the beginning could see that she became more and misogynistic as time went by, and she dealt with more and more women. Well, how could that be? She stopped at 1,000. Finally, she no longer cared about how she herself said it because she realized it didn't make any difference. Well, you are correct there. It doesn't make any difference. Let's see. Andrew with the quick retorts to their personal attacks was worth the watch. I'm going to disagree with that. I've got my own opinions of that, I'll come back to that. Jesus, these women are the worst. No more worse than your English. 7 minutes in, and the lieutenant proved the point. Solipsism creates a mental block and limits abstract understanding, but not me ad nauseum. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time. Loses argument. So she was talking about a personal place. Where did it go? At what point do you push aside your bias of not hurting your friends' feelings for actually producing a good show? Wow, why didn't think it was a good show? I guess all the viewers are misogynist losers for. Sorry, that calls for this.
Misogyny.
There we go. For not wanting to listen to a bunch of rowdy women scream and interrupt the entire time while guests tried to bring some substance to the conversation. That's a relative term. The twins, for example, brought nothing to the show. Well, this is an awfully long comment for somebody who was just like, I can't watch this anymore. No, you can watch it and you will come back and you will eat it up again when I serve it up hot and fresh for you next Thursday or the Thursday after that. You will. You'll still show up because you, my friend, are this guy. Where'd he go? Where's my guy? This is you. This is why you will keep coming back for more. More. Sartain is afraid to hurt personal relationships on the show. No, I sincerely doubt that. If you knew what was going on behind the scenes, you would not have that opinion. Because without it, his whole concept of social circle familiarity game goes out the window. Yes and no. Can't be the man with 6,900 1010s friends if you make them upset for telling them they are being rude and disruptive, or any harsh truths after you let them do whatever and get away with whatever every other moment. Still love and watch every show Sunday show, but Access Vegas is hard to watch when the hosts let the women bulldoze through the show. I'll tell you what's funny. We know you want to be different, a different female, be the different female panel podcast, but tonight's show was a showcase of what not to do. I heartily disagree, and I'll tell you why. Because guys who look like this will be back for more. You guys asked me about Rat. Back for more. There you go. You will be back for more. More. Give me more. Yeah, you'll be back because you love this shit. Clearly you do. Clearly the guys who are in the chat, clearly the guys who are making comment like long, like freaking doctoral thesis, like dissertation comments, you will be back. Yeah, absolutely you will be. And I'll be there serving it up hot and fresh for you because that apparently is the only thing that plays, at least on shows like that. Not here. Right here, we keep it down to earth. This is a pod class, not a podcast. If you have a disagreement about that, I am more than willing to entertain it, and I will be happy to put it up on screen and talk to you about anything that you want to talk about. But the problem is nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody has the fucking nutsack to come on my show. Nobody has the nutsack to even really come on fucking Access Vegas because they know they'll get their asses handed to them. That's why. They're scared shitless. Prove me wrong. Please, somebody prove me the fuck wrong. I want to be proven wrong. Come on, Michael Knowles. Come on, Matt Walsh. Come on, Candace Owens. Come on, Jasmine Jafar and Farah. Where the fuck were you? Where was that? We were supposed to do something this week. Oh, I guess it's because you tried to come at me and till the fields. Well, maybe it wasn't you. It was probably whoever is working for Destiny or whoever is in his fucking Reddit group or his. Yeah, I'm aware of that group. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm in there. I shouldn't say I'm in there. I get the alerts. Put it that way. All your Web 3.0 groups. Trust me, there's people. I've got my own informants too. Yeah. So yeah. Well, what happened to Pharaoh? What happened? What happened? What happened to Jasmine Jafar? What happened to I'm trying to think who else was supposed to show up. They never did. Yeah. I've had the challenge has been out for over a year since November of last year. Well, year before 2022. You want to come and challenge me? You want to come and talk about this stuff? You honestly believe in your convictions, Amala or Liz? What the fuck is Liz's last name? I was going to read this too. Where did it go? I got a tweet from what tweet? I got a pushback from someone here. Where did she go? There it is. All bookmarks. Bookmarked it even. Not Amala. Although Amala can come in and join us anytime she feels. Oh, here's Amala. There's a ton of red pill content online that sounds very similar to this directed towards women. Well, let's go have a look at that, shall we? Where'd you go, Amala? Hold on a second. Amala's pretty good, but Liz, what the fuck was Liz's name? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Gotta go to my profile and actually dig it up. Okay, where'd you go? No. Where'd you go, girl? Oh, sorry, it's in my. I actually replied to her. I didn't actually tweet at her. If you guys saw, oh, here it is, Liz Wheeler. Okay, Liz, here you go, Liz. Now I'm going to give you that attention you ordered. All right, first, let's do this one. This is too good not to. All right, but first, this. Amala, there we go. Here's Amala. You guys like this one? Check this shit out. Look, I got my live on there. Did you guys see this? We played this video on. Here, I'll play it for you. We played this video on Access Vegas, and I want you guys to have a look at this because I saw it, and now you have to see it too.
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No?
We don't need short men.
Do you need a man?
No.
Need a man?
Oh, God.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No? Do we need men?
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men? Do we need men? Do women need men in this world? Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because we can be strong, independent women.
Do we need men?
Like, not necessarily, but like, if I can look at them, like, we need a man to look at.
Do we need men?
No!
No, why?
Nobody needs men!
Really?
We do not need men!
Why not? Why do we need men?
Why would I need men?
So what can you get from someone else that you don't get from a man?
The only thing I can get from a man that I can't get anywhere else is dick.
Okay.
And I don't need dick.
Do we need women?
Yes.
We do. Why?
These women are awesome.
Do we need women?
Of course.
Why?
Yeah, you do need women.
They're beautiful.
Do we need women?
Women make us feel compassionate and affectionate.
Do we need women?
Of course we do.
Do we need women?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're hot.
And what else?
They're hot.
Do we need women?
I mean, shit, unless they're gay.
Do we need women?
Do we need women?
Yeah.
Yes, who's going to do my dishes?
That dude goes to MOA. I'm certain of it. Oh, but then wait a minute. There's more. Here's good little Amala, who will still not take the challenge. There's a ton of red pill content online that sounds very similar to this. Where? Who? Who's saying this? Please
Say my name.
Where? Name it. Of course, that's the first thing I said. Where? Link one example. Still haven't linked one example. You know why? Because Amala doesn't even fucking post her own post on Twitter. Prove me wrong. This polarity is going to continue. Hopefully, both men and women wake up and realize there's plenty of good people out there, and we do need each other. Well, that's funny because it seems to me that the only people who were saying that they didn't need men was the females that were being interviewed in this street interview. Bravo, bro. And all the guys said, hell yeah, we do. So if you're going to show me, first of all, show me the red pill creator that's doing this, Amala. That's number one. You won't. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So show me. No. Okay. Fuck off. Second of all, it was only the women that were saying they didn't need it. And that was the whole point. When we brought this up, this was actually the first, the one I led with this video on Thursday on Access Vegas. And I asked the girls before I even showed the video, I said, do we need men? And a lot of them said yes. So Amala, apparently that's not actually what's fucking going on. I think only one or two of the girls on the panel said no, or like tried to qualify things because they didn't know the video was coming, right? And then, of course, what happens is, those women are damaged. Those women are drunk. Those women are out of their minds. Those women should be disqualified from the female of the human species. They're hammered. Anyone was. And I'm like, my first response to that was like, well, like they call alcohol truth serum, right? Like the more fucked up you are, you lose your inhibitions, and then you're more likely to tell the truth about something, or like at least say what's really on your mind. Yeah. No, apparently that went in one ear and out the other for the panel as well, unfortunately. But still, it's representative of the fact that though one of those red pill podcasts, clearly we're not doing that. Clearly that's not the case, but I guess I'm wrong. Oh, well, wait a minute. You know who else wants a piece of this? Let's talk to Liz Wheeler. Who is Liz Wheeler? Before I show you, she is the host of the Liz Wheeler Show, author of Hide Your Children, Exposing the Marxists Behind the Attack on America's Kids. All right. Well, I think we've pretty much established tradconism in Liz Wheeler. And like any good tradcon, she's got to get a piece of the pie too. So let's have a look at what Liz had to say. There we go. Liz Wheeler. Well, what do you think about the red pill, Liz? I constantly see red pillars saying women initiate 80% of divorces. Women are the problem. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Which actually the problem with broken marriage in our country is spiritual, of course, because we can use that as any kind of unfalsifiable reason for anything we want. But let's even continue with that. Let's just even give her that. Actually, the problem with broken marriages in our country is spiritual, which I'm sure if you asked any of those girls that were like, do we need men? Do we not need men? I'm pretty sure most of those chicks would probably say it's not necessarily a spiritual thing. It's sort of an empowerment thing that we've been doing for quite some time. But I digress. 69%, not 80% of divorce filings are initiated by women. Well, that all depends on how you break down the demographics, poor Liz, which we'll get to in just a moment, as I have already discussed with James Sexton, who she will never want to get into a debate with. So if you're look how long this response is. That must have taken some time. Somebody had to go and of course, she never gives you any links to where she's getting these data points. Fortunately, I have some, so I will be happy to point out where she's getting these, or at least where she thinks she's getting them. Note, filings. Okay, it's filings, right? 69%, not 80% of divorce filings are initiated by women. Note, filings. That means paperwork. That isn't a commentary on why the marriage is broken or who is most responsible. Well, the problem with that is that women have a very predictable time frame. There's a very predictable template for women when they get divorced. The average, and by the way, I already discussed this with Matt Walsh, or I've tried to anyways, but I've cut him down for his bullshit stats. And his bullshit stats are is that it's, well, again, he wants to say that it's a spiritual thing. If you just were nice to her and you just listen to her feelings and you just were, it's not about the nail, that everything would work out for you and you're going to beat the odds. Don't worry. Meanwhile, 56% of marriages fail. Where are you getting that? James Sexton's information, and I will show you this here in just a minute. I'll post it up here in a second. So I'm going to prove Liz here wrong. But before I do, let's where to go? There it is. Okay. So let's go through her reasons. The reasons. Here's the reasons. So it's not about the divorce. It's about who is responsible for the divorce, right? So women, if they file, they could still be not responsible for being the one who had to file. Okay. If that's the case, then why is it that men and women are not filing equally? Well, because we want to make it about responsibility for who is at fault in a no-fault marriage era. The reasons: 35% of women who file for divorce do it because their husband was unfaithful. Wrong. Wait, hold on. We need Trump here. Wrong. 24% of divorces are due to domestic violence, and we know most victims of abuse are women. Wrong. Okay. Let's before we jump in here too deep, let me go grab the divorce stats courtesy of Mr. I think I even dropped these. Here we go. Much better. Revealing divorce statistics in 2024. This is the most current divorce statistics that I have. And again, this is through Forbes, but this is like a collection of data points here. So let's see about that. Shall we? Well, we talked about this already. I'm going to read. I'll just read this to you really quickly. This is from the Forbes Advisor articles here. Divorce trends over time. Trends in divorce have changed over time with the number of people dissolving their unions. Divorce rate has decreased from a rate of 4.0 to 2.5 since 2000. The reason for that is because the rate of marriage has fallen off a fucking cliff. That's why. And I love getting that all the time. Hey, don't you know divorce has gone down? You red pill guys are wrong. No, we're not, because fewer marriage, fewer divorces. If anything, if you're avoiding marriage, we're right. We're succeeding. If you believe that that's what the red pill is all about, which it's not. But even if it was, guess what? We still win on that data point. Let's see. So here we go. In 2000, a total of 944,000 divorces and annulments occurred. The crude divorce rate, by the way, there's a difference between crude and defined or refined. Crude divorce rate was 4.0 per population during that year. By 2021, it had fallen to 2.5. Of course, that had a lot to do with the pandemic, with just 689,308 people divorcing that year. Those numbers are still pretty bad, okay? The marriage rate has declined too, dropping from 8.2 to 6.0. That's why, you dumb fuck. Third marriages have the highest divorce rates at 73%. Many people accept it as fact that half of all marriages end in divorce, which is true. But as mentioned above, this applies only to the first marriages. Those who wed multiple times face a far higher divorce rate. In fact, 67% of second marriages end and 73% of third marriages are dissolved. Now, when you take all of that in aggregate, Liz, now we can see that it goes from 69% up to at least 75, well, somewhere between there. Depending on whose numbers you use and depending on how you massage those things and what you're including in your demographics, age also plays into that. There's also first marriages, second marriages, third marriages. Put them all together, and guess who's filing 80% of the time? Women. Who's doing it for first-time marriages? Well, you might be right with the 69%. But by the time you get to second and third marriages, now it goes up. That's what they're quoting. Are we clear? Are we simpatico on this now? Do you understand? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Because that's where the number comes from. 35% of women who divorced do it because their husband was unfaithful. Wrong. Wait. Wrong. Thank you, Trump. Here we go. Let's go down to here. Let's see. Nope, not quite. Let's go. What does she say? She said 35% of those who file, women who file for divorce, not collectively, women who file for divorce, do it because their husband was unfaithful. Well, actually, you'd be wrong about that. It's actually much higher than that. Infidelity and extramarital affairs accounts for 60%, not 35%. But you know what outclasses that? Lack of commitment. In fact, let's move over to that really quickly here. Where'd we go? Sorry, I had to pull this out. There we go. This is what I'm reading from. Lack of commitment, infidelity or extramarital affairs, too much conflict and arguing, getting married too young. Sounds like getting married too young. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Bliz Wheeler, I presume, everybody from Daily Wire, accounts for a lot of divorce, at least 45%. That's a reason, top reasons for divorce, okay? Getting too much conflict and arguing. Well, you know what's interesting is if you take the aggregate of, let's see, all of the ones that aren't infidelity and you compare them against the 60% that is infidelity, then you start to see a clearer picture here. Because here's the thing that especially tradcons like to do. They like to take one, well, it's not just tradcons, it's also libs too. But they want to take one data point and say, that's it. No, you have to take that data point in collection with other data points so you can get a clear picture of what's going on. Correlation is not causation. Thank you very much. Jerk me off a little bit more. Got it. Okay. Moving on. Correlation still counts. So how are we going to relate this information? Domestic violence. I love that. 34% is 24%. There we go. Maybe that's where Liz got that number from. What's the rest of she saying here? 24% of divorces are due to domestic violence. Yes. And we know most of the victims of abuse are women. Of reported abuse, yeah, maybe still 24%. Okay. And again, that's aggregate for men and women divorcing. So we have to take that into account because we presume it's a heterosexual marriage. So that's 50% men, 50% women. I know, basic math, but we have to do it for these knuckleheads. Okay. Basic incompatibility and money issues are among the top reasons for divorce. Get that? Basic incompatibility and money issues are amongst the top reasons for divorce. Couples divorce for many other reasons as well, other than a lack of commitment or infidelity. Here are the three of the top causes of divorce. 58% of couples report arguing and excess conflict. 45% of divorcing couples indicate they married too young. 38% report financial problems as a divorce cause. Number one amongst those financial causes, precipitator of divorce, is the woman makes more money than the man. Boom. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Liz. So right there, 2/3 of divorce are initiated by women are because of their husbands. No, that's not how the data plays out, Liz. and had sex with other women outside the marriage or beat his wife. Well, considering the low divorce rate and the low marriage rate to begin with, I hardly think that this is an epidemic. And again, I will point out once more for the gallery here that was it interpersonal? No, it's intimate IPV, intimate partner violence, doesn't even qualify as one of the top reasons for top 10 anyways, that women are, let's say, mortality rate. I don't want to get too graphic here because I don't want to get kicked. You can say motherfucker on YouTube, but you can't say so. You can't say those things. Go figure. So anyways, you got this. 66% of men and 74% of women think their partner should have worked harder to save the marriage. Okay, well, that's enough of Liz. But long story short, I challenged her. I said, hey, if you want to come down to Vegas, you want to come sit across the table from me and James Sexton, we will be happy to entertain you. We'll give you a nice, respectful interview, but unless you're Farrah. I'm not trying to make this a battlefield of the sexes. You already are, dear. In fact, the idea of a battle of the sexes is part of the problem. Well, here's the problem that I have with this assessment is that I love it's the topic du jour right now to go after red pill guys. We're pretty aware of that. But when I look at the reasons and I look at the stats, and of course she never links where she's getting her data points from, because if she did, some smart spurgy OCD guy like me will probably go and look at it and go, no, you're wrong. And if you are that compassionate, if you are that dedicated to your convictions that everybody ought to get married, where it's not as bad as you think. I'm still waiting for the call from Matt Walsh, still waiting for, Liz Wheeler now, I guess. Anybody who wants to defend their point. None of you do. None. Zero. None of you want to. You know why? Because you're chicken shit. That's why. Because you're afraid. You're cowards. You don't believe in what you say. You can write a doctoral thesis and tell me percentage points, and people are going to go, oh, well, yeah, it's just really a problem. And those red pill guys are really terrible. They're the reason for divorce. No, the decline in marriage and divorce and all the statistics that we have today started way before you even knew what the fucking red pill was. But it must have, it's just what we're hearing today on an election cycle. But I cannot wait for November 6th, by the way, because all this shit goes right out the window. Poof, like a fart in the wind, man. Everybody, it's great to just sit there and fire away at people, random people. Like Amala will never mention specifics. Yeah, I'm saying never. Liz, those red pill, who the fuck are you talking about? Please, for the love of Christ, tell me who you're talking about. I see this all the time. Where? Give me links or shut the fuck up. STFU, man. Give me the links or shut the fuck up. Yeah? Don't have any? Okay, shut the fuck up. Oh, where'd you get those? Post me the links to your data points. Show me where you're getting your percentages from. Oh, didn't? Don't have them? Shut the fuck up. Because you're the problem now. And your conviction is horseshit, and your religion and your faith is equally horseshit. It is just as empty as the bullshit that you put on your brand of you, your personal brand. It is bullshit until you want to sit across the table and defend it. And if you can't, shut the fuck up. End of story. Thank you very much. Goodbye. The end. Let's see. What do we got here? Sorry, I got to catch up. By the way, I want to also point this out. I had some people throwing out like $200 super chats on my on Access Vegas, and I'm generally watching this channel. And I have Sam. Thank you. You're doing like God's work here. But like I have Sam helping me out like with the super chats across like multiple channels. So Sam has to be watching like 4 different streams at the same time. Sorry. So I got a few like $200 super chats from the Access Vegas channel. And I wasn't paying attention to it, and I got to them at the end of the night. I did get to them. Thank you, Sam Bada. Bravo. There you go. Golf clap for Sam Bada. But I just want to point out that I try. Again, I'm a one-man show, and I'm trying to cover. But basically, I'm covering 3 streams, and we're running 4. Okay, so I got Mike Sartain. He's watching his anyways. I'm watching this channel. Then there's the Access Vegas channel. And then there's the Rumble channel too, which I like. I don't even know what the fuck's going on Rumble. And I'm one dude. So please bear with me, at least until I can get a staff of some sorts. Okay, let's see. Where'd you go? Oh, here we go. Bill Smith. I didn't like Thursday's show. It was toxic, fighting, and bickering. I'm glad you point this out. Please keep it more fun and don't let guests bash girls. Not simping, by the way. Hard to watch. You're the first one to actually phrase it in that sense, Bill. I'm going to leave you up here for a second. I'll come back to you. Carl Bennington, I'm open to a relationship so sex doesn't feel like a loss for a woman. There are ethics to game. There should be, but there isn't. There should be ethics to game. Ideally, there should be, but there's not. Facts, Rollo. The red meat will never die because red pill aware males are such a small percentage, yes, of the population. Are you not entertained? Yes. Wait, here.
Are you not entertained?
At least I could get that one little bit in there. Wait, you want this one?
Conan, what is best in life?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I red meat is where it's at, man. I hate to say it. I'm trying to avoid selling out. Trying. Although I guess maybe with hold on, maybe with this I already is this selling out? I don't know. It probably is. What we got? Jordan Peterson is an atheist who doesn't want to be honest about his non-belief. You know, you're right. Of course he is. Of course he's a Christian now. All of a sudden, oh, will it pay me more to walk on water or wear a crown of thorns? Thank you, Chris Cornell. Who doesn't want to be honest about his non-belief and instead goes around pretending to be someone he's not, hiding behind a giant mountain of word and salad buffet. Would you like me to get into why I think he's full of shit today? I think I might do that because he's part of the problem too. I would have named if I didn't need to come up with some spicy feminist 304 heated debate, instantly regrets. You put instantly regrets in a fucking title, dude. That's gold. Gold, I tell you. But I had to do that so I can get more guys that, you know, look like this, because clearly that's my demographic. With regard to tribes and shithousery, really, I like shithousery. Wouldn't that be longhousery? No, shithousery. Some guys can dish it out, but can't take it back. I've also seen them end up with no friends because people get fed up with that kind of behavior. Are those guys fake alphas? I don't know. I need more context. Like it's real easy to say someone's a paper tiger, right? A paper alpha. There used to be a term called paper alpha, by the way. Or contextual alpha. I would say what you're probably talking about right here, shithousery. Is really more about contextualizing alpha. Like they'd be really super alpha in one like social setting or one circumstance, one situation, and then but for the most part they're actually they're only alpha in a certain day and a certain time and a certain hour. Yeah. Contextual alpha. I wrote like at least 2 essays on that. Are you worried about Homeworld 3 after the demo? No, not at all. I am ready to rock. I'm ready to rock. You know, what's funny is Mike Sartain was talking. God damn it. Why'd you get me sidetracked on this? Mike Sartain was talking about GTA, Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to be coming. I guess it's next year, right? And they're already hyping the fuck out of this thing. And I'm like, can I have Homeworld 3? I just want to play Homeworld. I love Homeworld because I like strategy games, as you probably already know. I mean, it's not that I don't like GTA. I'm sure it's going to be cool, but I'm more about I like playing chess when the pieces have missile launchers and I don't know, plasma cannons and particle weapons. If you could have chess with I don't know, let's see, fusion blasters, I would probably play that. I will play that. I'll play the fuck out of that game. There you go. I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to be cool. I'm more worried about Dune right now than anything else. Rollo, a Stanford medicine study identifies distinct brain organization patterns in women. Funny you should say that. And men and women, all thanks to AI. You are proven right once. I'm sorry. What was that? I'm a little deaf in this ear. What am I? Oh, right. Thank you very much.
Wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
Right. Funny you should say that because I actually have those studies on tap right now. And if you want a preview of that, you can go follow me on Instagram now that I'm back on Instagram again. Yes, I am back on Instagram. It cost me an arm and a leg to get the fucking thing back up, but I am. I'm supposed to be whitelisted right now. All you got to do is pay the ransom and you'll get on. But the guy I worked with was actually not too bad. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the process or how much it should cost or whatever, but like I used Myron Gaines' guy and he actually turned out pretty good. So if you guys are in need of getting your Instagram back, like DM me or hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. And if you need to get your IG back, I will give you his name. I'm not going to say it publicly right now because I don't think he wants me to. But if you are in need of somebody to sort of get you back online, and I ain't going to be cheap. I'll tell you that right now. Fuck, man. The cheapest I could find was like $1,500. And maybe it's just because of me. And, oh, Rollo, oh, she's got money. Make it rain. People think I'm way more paid than I am. I am not. I am not a millionaire. So I'll be the first one to tell you that. Up to you. I can buy the things I enjoy. Look, there's some beautiful guitars in the back here. I don't own a fucking McLaren. I own a Toyota Tacoma. What kind of cars do I own? I own a Toyota Tacoma. I own my wife's 4Runner, 2020 4Runner. All paid for. I bought out the money. I bought out the loan on my mother-in-law's car, Ford Neon or some shit. I don't even know. And then my Camaro, my bitchin' Camaro, which is a fucking money pit. Thank you very much, but worth every penny. And then what else do I? Oh, and then I have a Chrysler 300, my classic Chrysler 300. That's by the way, if you ever come to Vegas and you decide to take the challenge and sit across from me, I will pick you up personally in my beautiful 2005 glorious silver Chrysler 300C Hemi. Yes, it's the Hemi version. Yeah, intentionally. But yeah, I have these on tap. I'll bring those up later, Dandelion. Thomas V, I'm the one that filed for my divorce. I had so much guilt about it, but then I realized I wasn't the one who ended the marriage. I'm just the one who did the heavy lifting of the divorce. At that point, what's interesting is like most guys, when men file for divorce, it's usually because the bitch is crazy, she's on drugs, or she's now a criminal for whatever reason. Those are really the only reasons why most men will file for divorce. And it's not like, oh, irreconcilable differences, she cheated. Most men, like they say, oh, I would never stay with the bitch who cheated on me. And trust me, most guys will. They'll forgive that shit because they know that the prospects of getting out into the sexual marketplace and getting back on the horse again for guys who've been married for quite some time is a very difficult process. And they're more than willing to try to repair things. Most guys are blue pill. Most guys are in that 80th percentile, and they will put up with a whole lot more shit. They will tolerate a whole lot more shit than most women will, because women are incentivized to divorce. Men are disincentivized for divorce. And that's really the long and the short of it. Thanks, Thomas, for that. And that's really what gets lost in all of this fucking sauce here, right? Oh, well, you got to look at the reasons why women have to file. It's not their fault. It's men's fault. But the thing is you have to look at the incentives. Men are disincentivized when it comes to divorce. Women are incentivized for divorce. Cash and prizes. That's why. Oh, well, what's the reasons for divorce? Like, why would people have asked this a million times on God knows how many different red pill podcasts, right? What can a man get inside marriage that he can't get outside of marriage? And every tradcon on planet fucking Earth has got some ready. Well, what about kids? Right? Well, the Lord said, okay, well, fine. Beyond your spiritual convictions, what? Like, what practical, efficient thing? Like, oh, I love this one. You'll never hear anybody say this, but I'm going to use this as often as possible because James Sexton came up with this one. What problems does marriage solve? And you can say that for men and women. Of course, 90% of the time we're talking to guys. So, but like what problems does marriage solve? And people say, well, okay, child, it's better to have a 2-parent family. That's great. But the incentives and the way we do marriage right now, you will not have A, authority over those children, and B, you will have the responsibility and the liability, the accountability for those kids, but they will never be, quote unquote, your kids. Because that's not the way modern feminist, gynocentric society looks at men when it comes to divorce. When it comes to your child, unless that woman, like I said, is a drug addict, she's a criminal, or she is clinically insane, odds are she's going to get custody of those children. And all that bullshit about, well, it's better for the kids. You can have kids inside of marriage and it's good for a 2-parent family. Yes, you are correct about that, but they are children that will never be yours. They will never be yours. Not in any meaningful sense. They'll say, well, I love when people go, well, you're stuck for 18 years. No, motherfucker, you are stuck for a lifetime. My daughter is 25 years old. I didn't just go, guess I'm not paying anymore. See ya. Bye. No, I'd still take care. If my daughter needs help, hell, if her dog needs help, I'll go help her dog out because I'm just a cool motherfucker. But trust me, you're invested in your kids for a lifetime, not for 18 years. Oh, whew. She turned 18. Her 18th birthday's today. I'm out. See ya. Bye. Headed off to Aruba now to go bang random chicks. Nobody does that. No one. Very few. Because the guys who are going to walk away from a marriage and walk away from their kids, they're going to do it long before 18. Trust me. If they're sociopathic and psychopathic, whatever, psychotic enough to entertain that as an idea, they would like most guys, it's much more efficient for them to just simply pay for child support because that's where we're at. I'll quote, you want to talk about the kids thing again. I'll quote Dalrock, DALROCK .wordpress.com. Go look them up. Dalrock, when I was writing, I've quoted this. If you've read my 4th book, Religion, you'll find this quote in there. You'll find me referring to this, is that we're somewhere around the sexual revolution, right? Between 1965 and 1975, we shifted over from a marriage-based way of raising children to a child support-based way of raising kids. And I don't mean that in the terms of oh, well, all these guys just left and bailed out. No, you got to remember from 1965 right up through probably 1980, 85, somewhere in there. If you look and I've got the data points right here. I'll see if I can pull it up. If you look at the correlation between the rise in the use of hormonal birth control and the rise in divorces, and remember, women have always been the ones to initiate more divorce. All of that coincides with the rise in the use of hormonal birth control. So, well, you hear cutesy little Michaela Peterson popping off about, well, is it true that women pick the wrong guy when they're on birth control? That's just an ancillary fact, man. That's just a sideshow. The real show is that because of hormonal birth control, as far back as 1965 to 1970 in there, if you look and you track the use of the popularity, the use of hormonal birth control, and you superimpose that on the massive spike in divorces from 1965 to really where we are now, it's uncanny how close that is. That's the real story. Not, oh, it fucked with my hormones or made me fat and bitchy. No, I picked the wrong guy because I was on fucking birth control. No, that's not the story. The story is women got on birth control and they're like, I'm done with this motherfucker. I'm out. And I need no fault divorce and I need child support and I need all that stuff. All that flew right out the fucking window, dude. All that shit about, oh, till death do us part and everything. I don't need you. Those women that you saw in that video that Amala wanted to talk shit about, those are the great grandchildren of Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan. Those are the result. Those girls are the product of 60 plus years of militant feminism and the rise of gynocentrism. I hate using feminism. I'm not even gonna. I'm writing an essay on Substack. Please subscribe. It's right there. That's the third link down. It's still above the fold. You don't even have to click more. It's right there. See that right there? Substack. Subscribe to my Substack. I'm going to go full paid pretty soon. So make sure you do that. Now I have an upcoming article that I'm writing about the difference, or like why we need to give up on this stupid bullshit about feminism, because feminism is just a bugbear. It's just a catch. It's like saying somebody's red pill, right? Well, feminists did this. Well, that's another reason, by the way, I put feminist in the title of this video, because you put feminist in a title, boom, numbers skyrocket. Boom. What am I at? I'm like 1,300 viewers right now, probably because of feminist, heated debate. Rollo made this girl cry, and probably this guy right here. You can't. I'm gonna till the end of the fucking show. I'm gonna be showing this dude off. Too good. Okay, but yeah, I mean, as far as feminism goes, gynocentrism is a much more accurate term right now. But feminist invokes like these like preconceptions of like Lena Dunham, right, or the blue-haired fuchsia colored hair girl at the coffee shop. God bless you. I love you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for making good coffee. You do make good coffee. I'll give you that. You know, I love you. But yeah, like the underarm hair pit, if that's your thing, go for it. But like that is the mental image that we get when we conjure up the word, or we conjure it up when we hear the word feminist. Oh, it's those feminists? Let's get them. Rollo's gonna get them. Yeah. Which is exactly what you sons of bitches wanted me to do with every girl that was on Access Vegas on Thursday. What's this? Jordan B. Peterson, JBPs. Old lectures were my gateway drug to the red pill and the rational male. I'll give him credit for that, and only that. Well, thank you. Now it's just baffle garble, and thank you, Vox Dave, for such a wonderful adjective. Thanks, buddy. You are welcome, buddy. Thanks, some guy. I appreciate you. I hope you weren't. Were you one of the guys that gave me $200 on Access Vegas? I'm pretty sure you were. And wait a minute, got another one. Thursday's AV was awesome. 2 observations. 1, it's the closest you've come to an F&F podcast. Yeah. 2, with 2 exceptions, the panel epitomized female solipsism. Yeah, yes, and no. Now, here's what I will get to the other super chats here in a minute, but I feel like I got to do this merch. I always want to say merch, but if I do that, people are like, what the fuck are you saying? Why does he keep saying merch? Because we don't have any merch. Well, we don't have any merch that says that. So here was my problem, and I need to sort of get this off my chest, because I was going to write about this, and I go, you know what? Maybe this would be better to save for the show. Here's my take on all that. Everybody and their mother, and if you go and you look at the comments here, everybody who had a negative comment on Access Vegas said pretty much the same thing. How could you let those women disrespect Andrew and Dave Cooley? And my response to you is, they're fucking men. If all it took was some random girl on a show to like cause them mental anguish to the point where we would consider it disrespect, they don't have any business being on my fucking show, or anyone else's for that matter either. I don't think they were disrespected, and I don't think that I should have stepped in one bit on any of that, because they're fucking men, unlike you guys, unlike this guy. This is you, okay? Dave Cooley has his own show. Andrew Wilson has a very good, I happen to subscribe to, I just started subscribing to Neil Fugazi. Andrew Wilson has his own show. He's gone up against like some heavy hitters on fucking whatever podcast. Don't give me this horse shit about you should have kicked the twins off. You should have kicked off Lieutenant Amy too. Get the fuck out of here. If all it takes was them pushing back against them, then neither one of them have any business being on my show. They don't have any business being on Myron and Fresh, or their own shows for that matter either. If all it takes is for Amy to push back on, well, Andrew, with a lot of data that she had, she knows all this stuff because she's in the fucking military. She's served. We had 4 vets on that show. Did you know that? 3 of them were women. One was a Marine. Amy was, I want to say she was Navy. I think she was Navy. And then I forget the other girl at the end of the table. And then Mike's captain in the Air Force. They all knew the stats. They're all very intimately aware of this stuff. And particularly Amy, because her podcast is to like, to have conversations with veterans. She knew what she was talking about. And Andrew got caught flat-footed, I'm sorry to say. And I love Andrew, but I think that he got caught with that part right there. Andrew was on point for a lot of it, except for that one part where they were talking about, trying to think which one it was. There's some stats that she threw out at him. And I don't think he was prepared for the stats. But now he probably will be now. Hey, guess what? He might have learned something. He'll be better prepared on the next one. If I'd have kicked her off, that wouldn't have happened. So fat ass. No, I'm not going to kick them off. Neither am I going to kick anyone else off. If they want to castle themselves, that's always a possibility. And Amy was about this fucking close when she was having that exchange with Dave Cooley. That was about to happen. It was towards the end of the show, so she stuck it out. She probably would have if it happened earlier on, I'm pretty sure. I'm not kicking anybody off the show. And neither is Mike for that matter. And it's not because we want to be friends with them. They can kick themselves off. We've had that happen before. Self-castling is always a possibility on Access Vegas. But our intent is not to go on there and kick off a guest or kick off a girl or kick off anybody. We're there to have a fucking conversation. And I don't think enough people really can like wrap their heads around that because they're too interested in, she pushed back on him. How could those guys not step in and kick her off like Myron would? Got her, got her, got her, got her, got her. That's what they want because you all look like this. I'm not going to kick anybody off the show, and neither is Mike. And that's like our charter right there. If they want, if it's too much, if it's too hot a kitchen, they can leave. Toy Hardy left on her own. I guess Myron kicked her off too, but like Toy Hardy left. We've had women, walk off the show before. Hell, I think even Jesse Preston walked off too. They don't like Myron. But here's the point. The reason why we have such a disconnect, I think, with our, I say mission statement. I don't even want to call it a mission statement. It's just what we do. We're there for the conversation, man. We're there to have these things out, to talk about. Get the clip, sure, but like to have those conversations because that's productive. What's not productive is, you're out of here, but you out. wait, hold on. I got to do this. That's not productive. And here's the thing is, let's just say for sake of argument, I kicked off Amy, I kicked off Jesse, I kicked off the twins. Now we're down to 2 girls. And what's going to happen? Then those girls become the targets of Cooley and Andrew. And either they put up and shut up or they bail themselves. And now we're down. Imagine this. Imagine if all the girls said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. And they all picked up and they all left. That would be awesome if you look like this, but it wouldn't be awesome for the show. It would be great for clips. But then once the clips are done and next week when we're starting over again, then what? We don't have a real conversation. You want to know why I push so hard against Jamie Lynn, who, by the way, does the Pink Pill podcast, who I used her video here in the beginning. The reason why we both we have a competition, we have a healthy disagreement, let's just say. She does her show in the same fucking studio. She does her show right there. And I've said on multiple occasions, I will be happy to come on your show. I'll be happy to hash this out. She still won't have me on. She won't have me on the show. That should be what you're harping on. The fact that these people, the fact that I can't get fucking Jasmine Jafar and Farrah to fucking play ball, the reason why I can't get fucking Liz Wheeler or Amala or Matt Walsh or the rest, that's what you should be fixated on. Those fucking pussies is what you should be fixated on. But no, let's kick these bitches off. They disrespected those guys. You need to be more like Myron. No, I don't. Myron is Myron. Rollo is Rollo. Mike is Mike. And it's not because we're like, you guys just want to be friends with these guys. Trust me, we've lost some friends as a result of this. More than you know. But that's not productive to the conversation. And so when people say, well, Rollo, like I've said this in the past, you get to a point of there's the diminishing returns and then there's the negative returns. We were pushing negative returns at the very end of that show. That's why I was like, okay, it's 9:15. It's time to sort of wrap this up, or 11:15. It's time to wrap this up. Because at some point you just get this back and forth and it's just like, no, fuck you. I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? A million affinity. Why don't you make me? Shut up. No, you make me. You make me. No, because I don't make monkeys. I just train them. What movie? Because we don't do that. That's just what we don't do. And people go, oh, you guys are big pussies. You don't go and kick them off. We want blood. We want to see, we need bread and circuses. We want more. God, that's where you're at. And you know what? I will say this is like, when that's the mentality, that I hate that I have to agree with the people who are going, no, they just want to get these girls on there and make fun of them. No, we don't. But the people in the chat are more than happy if we do, because that's what they want. They want comeuppance. Again, subscribe to my Substack, please, because I have an essay in there called, it's free. You can read it right now. It's called Comeuppance, or it's on revenge. And that's really what this is about. It's not about disrespect. It's like you just want to see the girl who wouldn't give you the time of day in fucking high school get fucking served by Rollo, or served by Myron, or served by Cooley, or served by, I don't know, Andrew, right? That's what you're waiting for. Nobody goes to a NASCAR race, and most people don't go to a NASCAR race to see who wins a fucking race. They want to see a car crash. That's what you were waiting for. Just fucking admit it. Because if you do, I'll be happy to give it to you. I'll give you the red meat. I'll give you all the cheesy fucking nachos you want. You guys don't understand. You don't get that relevancy of that, do you? No, it's just, now people are going to ask me, hey, I'll give you a super chat if you explain. You give me a good super chat, I'll explain the nachos reference. Okay. Ryan, or you can ask Ryan Stone about that. But that's the whole basis of my gripe with that. Now, the other basis is this, and I will get to super chats here in just a minute. My other basis is this, is like, when Myron came in the first time we were doing Access Vegas and they came on, every one of you asshats said, Myron, you need to go on there and kick these girls off because Mike and Rollo don't know how to do it. And you have to go in there and teach them. So what happens is, consequently, he comes in with a chip on his fucking shoulder and wants to, he's not going to take, shit to begin with, because he's been doing this for too long. And people think he's an asshole. I don't think Myron is an asshole. I think he's just been doing this for so long that he can pick out the problems before they get started. Right. But that being what it is, there is this expectation to go in to Access Vegas or to go into our show and say, oh, go on there and kick those girls off because they won't do it. We demand their kicking off. We demand a castling. We demand blood, blood, blood. Meat for the meat god, blood for the blood lord. That's what they're after. That's all that they're after. That's all that they're not there to learn about alpha widows. They're not there to learn about fucking, the war brides dynamic. They're not there to learn about hypergamy. They're not there to learn that. None of that makes any fucking difference to the average chat guy, chat viewer, whatever. And I know that it's not just about the people in the chat, right? But it's like, if that's what you're there for, and what happens is then you start influencing guys. And so when Cooley came on, and I like Cooley quite a bit, by the way, I've been subbing to his channel, but I honestly think there's a template that a lot of people are trying to mimic. You could even say that we are trying to do the same thing. But there's this template where everybody has to escalate. We have to escalate the conflict. We have to escalate the outrage. That's basically what they are, is outrage brokers, right? Who has the best outrage for me this week? Is it whatever? Is it Pearl? No. Is it Myron and Fresh? Maybe. Is it Access Vegas? Maybe. Is it, I don't know, Purple Pill Podcast? Probably. I will guarantee, I'm going to make a prediction here. Wait, here. Let me get this out. I'm going to make a prediction here on the last show in Reno for a while. Make a prediction. I'm going to predict that by August of this year, maybe September. Let's give it September. September of this year, a new podcast will come up that will be so outrageous and so over the top and will escalate everything to the nth degree that no one will even think about our podcast, Myron's podcast, or anybody else, because they will take it to the most illogical extreme that they possibly can. I had to correct Jesse Preston, so many Jessies, Jesse Preston, about her assessment about Myron and Fresh. Once again, I think I've done this probably like twice now, or at least 3 times maybe. Whenever somebody says, and I get this all the time, or I get this, like, it's not just Jesse, there's other girls who have said the same thing, which is, well, the only reason those podcasts exist is to make girls look stupid. Mike and I have gone out of our way to make sure that we get girls to make them not look stupid. But that doesn't matter because all that matters is blood. All that matters is red meat. All that matters is guts and entrails and gladiatorial combat. So I can understand if you just have a peripheral knowledge of Myron Fresh or me or whatever podcast, and you see these girls on there and you see someone like Michael Knowles on there wagging his finger and saying, you girls should keep your legs together. Here's some stats as to why you should keep your legs together. And he starts, doing, and Tricons love that, right? Because they get it's a moral crisis. It's a moral imperative. And he's right. He's right. He's on our team. He went in there to the lion's den and he faced down those girls. Like, that's what they want. The fact is that it's not about the information. It's about the outrage. And it's about the visceral effect. It's the dopamine hit that they get. The same guys who talk about like how dopamine is this and you shouldn't stroke your dick off because it's a dopamine hit, or you need to, what is it, serotonin, no, melatonin, serotonin versus dopamine. Those same guys are the same guys who are going, yeah, good. I'm glad Michael Knowles finally went on there and told those girls what's what. Like, no, you're part of the fucking problem. That's you. This is you. This is you. Okay. You might be going to church on Sunday, but that's still you. More. So when I see this, I can only guess that the logical outcome of this, a logical product of this is going to be who can escalate the most. So when Jesse says, well, all I see is these podcasts where Myron Fresh or like, it's never us because she's on our show. So it can't be our show, but like if it's whatever podcast or if it's Myron Fresh or even, I guess, Perla, who knows? The presumption is that they must cherry pick all these girls to put them on there because they're stupid and they can't name 3 countries, or they can't do advanced algebra right there on the spot with 4 White Claws in them. And all they want to do is go like the fat kid or like a kid on fucking The Simpsons. That's what they think that the only reason for those shows exist. And I'm going to tell you, I can understand that now. I completely can relate. Because when I look at the chat from Rumble, if I'm on Fresh and Fit, I look at the chat on Rumble, I look at the chat on YouTube. There's qualifiable differences between those two, but they all share one thing in common, which is get her, get her, get her, get her, get her, which is exactly why Kevin Samuels was so popular when he was still, God rest his soul. Because he was the one who would put these, and he would do it like individually on the spot. He didn't have a panel show. I mean, he tried once or twice, but it was usually girls who would call in and he would like dress them down, because there's this desire, the very, very strong desire on the part of sort of loser guys to want to get what's called comeuppance, pro-revenge. They want women to get their just desert. They're holding those girls accountable. There's one thing. It's one thing to hold women accountable. It's another thing to invest your ego in comeuppance. Meaning like, she finally got hers. The reason why titles like Feminist 304, Cries, and Heated Debate with Rollo on OnlyFans instantly regrets it, the reason why that title will play better than anything that's remotely related to what I'm talking about right now, the reason that plays is exactly that fucking mentality. And you say, well, it plays to the lowest common denominator. It's not just that. It's not like, let's see. I got an idea for a new show. Let's go and get a bunch of dumbass chicks in here from the local college and let's dress them down and we'll make a shit ton of money. You probably will. But how is that productive? How is that? At what point does it stop being about accountability and all this other shit and it starts being about beating up on children? It's like when you, what is it? Like when it's boys versus girls in sports or something like that. It's really unfair, I think, to put boys and girls in competitive sports together, especially when they're young, because it always fucks over the boys. Because the boys, if they win, they beat a girl. You just beat a girl. And if they lose, you got beat by a girl. It's a fucking Kobayashi Maru, man. There's no fucking win. It's a no-win situation. And I think that a lot of the newer podcasts that are coming out that want to be the next Fresh and Fit, because they smell blood in the water now. A lot of people do. I'll explain to you why. They want to be the more extreme version. That's why No Fugazi is going to probably outclass Fresh and Fit at some point. That's why there's some other ones that I'm looking at right now too that are going to outclass those because they're willing to go above and beyond. And I mean, if you, however extreme you think we are or Myron is, that's like the benchmark for the next level of escalation, and it's coming. That's my prediction. By September, you'll see something like, I'm not saying it's going to be No Fugazi, but it's going to be somebody. Somebody's going to take it to the nth degree, and it might not even be on YouTube. It might be on probably will be on Rumble or some alternative like platform, but it's coming. Because that's where the crowds demand bread and circuses. They don't want to educate. Not now. Not in an election cycle. I'm holding out for after November 6th and hoping, in the United States, anyways. Once we get past this hysteria, that maybe people will want to have a pod class instead of get her. So with that in mind, and with that as sort of my preamble here, the one thing I kind of didn't like about Dave Cooley's response to the women was that it sounded contrived. And if you're going to go after girls, and if you're going to I think Dave understands that his audience is the same audience that is saying you should have just kicked her off, Rollo, and Mike don't know anything about Frank Castling, blah blah blah. That same element is his demographic. It's also Andrew Wilson's demographic, only in a different, he appeals more towards the moralists. Whereas I would say if there is still a black manosphere, certainly black Twitter, Dave Cooley's got that on lock right now. And I would say that he's probably a real contender for Myron and Fresh at this point. Look in the rearview mirror. But he also understands what his audience expects, and his audience expects drop quotes or pull quotes like clapping them cheeks. That's what see, here's the thing. I don't even have a problem with being insulting, right? If it seems natural and unforced or unplanned. With Andrew Wilson, when he kind of made the girl noises and he was trying to sort of mock the girls, that to me seems like schoolyard middle school bullshit, right? There's better ways to deal with that. I'll explain why, but I want to getting back to Dave. It was I got the impression anyways, and maybe you did too. I got the impression that the entire time he was waiting to drop that line, to drop the clapping them cheeks, you should have kept your legs together. That it's moralism to an extent, but it's I am always guilty of throwing out insults. I've just done it for the last almost 2 hours now. Trust me, I'm not trying to say I'm better or worse or whatever, but I can pick out when something seems contrived, and that seemed very, very contrived. Contrived in the way that he knew, and Myron did the same thing, knew what his audience expected of him coming onto the show. My audience expects me to kick off some bitches off of Rollo's show, so I better go in there with a chip on my shoulder and kick some girls off, and that'll get the show started, right? And then what it is Myron comes in there and kicks a girl off the show or two or whatever, and now it's what are we me and Mike are supposed to be he kicked the girl off. What do you expect from us? Right? We knew it was basically Fresh and Fit in our studio, and we were hosting, and we will continue to host. We're still the only show that Myron and Fresh will collab with, and I'm happy that that's the case. But when you're going in there and you're playing to your audience rather than having it be an organic outcome of the conversation that you're having, that's planned, and that's just something to go in there and here's an opportunity to prove that I'm more extreme than Myron. Here's an opportunity to prove that I'm a guy who's all about the NASCAR crash and not about the NASCAR race, if that makes sense. So it seemed contrived. And again, I don't have a problem with insults from either side, from women or from men, right? You better be able to give as good as you get, and vice versa. Fine. You're a man, deal with it. I'm not going to kick them off. So deal with it. What are you going to do about it? If you're really red pill, if you're really about what you say you are, then all of your people who are saying, all of your people in my fucking comments saying I should kick them off, they better also understand that you should be able to deal with that because you're a man. Lord knows. Do you think that I didn't have to deal with that on Dr. Phil? Do you think that I didn't have to sit across the fucking the stage from smarmy ass Imran Ahmed trying to say that I'm the reason why Andrew Tate is the devil? You think that I wasn't prepared for that and I was ready because I knew who he was going in. I did my homework on every motherfucker I was on that show with. Everyone. And so if I'm going to sit there and go, oh, well, Imran Ahmed, he insulted me and disrespected me. Dr. Phil, kick him off the show. How would I fucking look if I went and cried like that, like a bitch on Dr. Phil, or I started making bitch ass comments later on in the comment section or the chats and stuff like that? How would I look if I said, you know what, Imran Ahmed hurt my feelings? Oh, Imran Ahmed disrespected Rollo Tomasi, so therefore Dr. Phil couldn't control his show and he should have kicked him off. Get the fuck out of here. No one would take my side if I said that. But if I'm, and by the way, the same contrived zingers that Imran Ahmed threw at me, it's pretty much the same thing that Dave Cooley was throwing at these girls. They're zingers. The whole point of being on the show was to get that one comment in, because that's the NASCAR crash. Oh, look, is she going to leave? Is she going to leave? How come Rollo doesn't kick her off? How come he's disrespecting? It's not about disrespect. There's no disrespect that took place in that entire fucking exchange. If there was, it was certainly equal between the two of them. How you deal with that disrespect is fucking characterizes the man. That says more about your character, and it says more about dudes who look like this, who had a problem with that quote unquote disrespect. I am not going to kick chicks off. If they want to be off, if it's too hot a kitchen for them, they know where the door is. And I'm proud to say we've only had a few of them take that out. But if you're going to come on our show and you're going to, and your audience is going to be there saying, oh, well, Rollo should, they don't know how to handle their show. They don't know how to do it. I'm like, no, we know how to handle our show. The problem is you guys think that there should be some sort of modicum of respect because that they came on the show with these chicks on there. No, if you go on whatever podcast, you go on Myron and Fresh, you go on anywhere, you know what you're getting into. Don't, and by the way, no flame on Dave Cooley. He's not the one saying this. Andrew, he's not the one saying this. They took it on the chin and they gave it back on the chin too. So why don't you, like, they don't care. Why do you fucking care? You care because you wanted blood. That's why. It's not about the disrespect. It's the fact that you were disappointed that I didn't kick him off the show. It was the fact that you didn't get the blood you were hoping for. Ha! Rollo kicked him off. Hey, you, get out. I'm not going to do that. If the girl wants to, fine. And if that's the case, then congratulations. You got to see a self-castling on Access Vegas. But that's not the point of what we do, and it's never going to be the point. So if that's the case, unsub now. Seriously. Tell your friends if they want blood, if that's the only reason that they want it and they don't want some sort of education, they don't want to have some really good discourse, fine, get out. Don't care. Same thing with I would say the same thing to the moralists who don't believe in their own fucking convictions. You know, the only reason you're not here, the only reason you're not picking up the gauntlet that I've thrown down since November of 2022, is because you're pussies. Come in here and sit across from me. I'm not going to kick you out. I'm going to give you a respectful, good discourse, just like I did with Richard Reeves and Sergio from Purple Pill Podcast and Zerka and Gary the Numbers guy. God, those guys had the balls to come in. Apparently, Jasmine Jafar and Farah decided that they would get better treatment on Marquette's show on Saint and Sinner, and he ran them out the fucking door too. You want blood? Go watch that. That was much better. But that's what he's about, right? Marquette like fucking tabled them. And I will tell you this, like Jasmine and Farah, if you're watching, you should have come on our show. Really, even with all the personal DMs that I made everybody aware of because of Farah, you still should have come on the show because you would have got a fairer shake, and I think you would have had a much better podcast. Not to take anything away from Marquette, I think he does a good job, but you would have a much different conversation with us. But you're two fucking pussies, both of you, pussies. I'm calling you out. Cowardesses. Is that the female? Cowardesses. You bottled out. You punked out. You pussed out. You were right here. You were right in fucking Vegas too. You would have just said, "Hey, you know, I think it was pretty fucked up about the Twitter blocking. Would you like to know about that? I will give that to you here right after I get to these. Right after these super chats." Clover Tack. Despite the drama on Thursday, AV, I thought it was one of the best episodes. So did I. Sorry. Got to that before. Let's see. Tom Anderson. Panel shows are important because you see how women think and behave in real time. Thank you. Even cringe episodes are educational. You are correct. Total War fan also. Medieval 2 and Empire. Yeah. Total War's good. Total War is like one game, and then you can like just add a bunch of like skins, and basically that's what you're doing. But I love the Total War version of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, the first and the second ones. I don't have the third one yet. Those are good. They are very time consuming, and you need a giant ass screen that's Bose to play that thing in like full effect. I don't get to play that very often. I do love that game. We should talk about games sometime. Shithousery, when friends give each other shit jokingly. Okay. Is that from Urban Dictionary? Shithousery. Love it. Rollo, anytime someone wants to bring out all these studies, get the sound of Mr. Garrison from South Park. Okay, retard alert. Yeah. Perfect. I think I say perfect better than the actual sound drop. Perfect. I would pay to see you play Warhammer with Henry Cavill. I would pay to see me play Warhammer with Henry Cavill. God, how awesome would that be? Henry, if you're watching this show, I need to play Malcador in whatever 40K thing you're doing with, you know who Malcador is, Malcador, the Sigilite. People said, "Oh, Rollo would make a really good Malcador." I'm like, thanks, man. I'm like way more yoked. I get why you would say that, but okay. What Primarch should I be? Primarch could I be? Lionel Johnson, maybe? I don't know. People are like, what the fuck is he talking about? The fuck is this Warhammer thing? We're fine with pushback as long as the girls provide hard evidence, but the girls were focused more on about the delivery that hurts their conversation. Yes, and that, by the way, that was also something I brought up in the conversation. So, matter of fact, thank you. It's a good time to play this video right here. Here it is. And here it is in full color.
Positioned themselves since the beginning of time to be the ones that learned how to build, and the guys disappeared. We would struggle for a very long time, but I think that women could eventually get to the point where they can figure stuff out.
The reason that women aren't building things because nobody taught them how?
I'm pretty sure that since the beginning of time, men have put themselves at a higher education and
How are they able to put themselves above women? Men have kept women away from the ability to do things that men generally do.
Weren't women not allowed to go to school for a really long time?
How is it though that men are able to do that and women can't stop them?
Because they would get killed. They would be overpowered.
If you're talking about force, gotta ask you something. Do you think that your rights come from you, or do you think your rights come from men?
100% they come from men.
Men are the ones who give you your rights.
Because you've put yourselves in that position, yes.
And you can't take us out of that position, women. Women can't take us out of that position, only men can. Right?
So I know what he was trying to do here. I mean, I get it. This is actually not the clip I wanted to, but this is actually pretty good. I know what he was trying to do here. He was trying to set up what has sort of been going around the tradconosphere, if there is such a thing, is the idea of individual rights and how rights are only enforceable by men. And he'd be right about this because it's violence. That's basically the violence, the supreme justice from which all other justice is derived. Is that it? I hope I'm getting that. It was Starship Troopers, right? And he was trying to get to the point where he's to force her into like accepting the fact that men are the one. Like, I think he did it kind of like ham-fistedly. I would have done it. I would have said this way. I would have said, like, you know, where do your rights come from? Oh, they're in the Bible. They're in the Constitution. They're in like name places, right? I would have started with that. I think he got ahead of himself. He just jumped. I've heard him have this conversation before, so that's probably why he did it. But she was saying, well, it's because, but see, the thing is because it's men tyrannizing women, and that's never been what it's about, because basic rights had nothing to do with women for the longest time. It was about men and establishing rights for other men, and by proxy, or excuse me, by extension, women and children and everyone else, right? So that would have been a better, I think, starting point for that conversation. It never really materialized because you're not having like that conversation, Andrew. That conversation flies with someone like Jasmine Jafar, who thinks she's an attorney. Maybe even the pseudo intellectual that is Farah with her. Why do you guys keep wearing those fucking glasses? Like we get it. You think you're Mia Khalifa. Got it. Can you just take the shit off and can we have a conversation without me looking at your lensless Mia Khalifa glasses? If you're going to give me shit about wearing a beanie and having long hair and all this other stuff, you have to give shit to Farah for wearing lensless glasses to make her look like purposeless. Lensless glasses on every fucking show, because it's a look that she's trying to cultivate. If you're going to give me shit, you better start with her first. Just going to say. But no, as far as Andrews, he wanted to have the sort of the rights and liberties conversation, and how and he'd be right, because men are the ones who ultimately enforce rights. Rights mean nothing unless they can be exercised and enforced. And the only way that those get enforced is through men. How? The man with the gun enforces the rights. That's pretty much how it is. And what he was hoping for was and she didn't bite, but what he was hoping for was that she was going to go, well, but they come from God, or they come from this, or they come from that, or their human rights are just basic. Everybody knows that. But he was trying to make her look stupid. She wasn't stupid. She understood that. The only thing that she said that was kind of I think out of bounds was the fact that it's men who fiendishly, patriarchally, tyrannically set themselves up into positions of power. No, it was because men and women, humans are sexually dimorphic. We have greater muscle mass. And I could have sat there and read Big Head Babies. I did try actually later on the Big Head Babies essay as to why women are naturally deferential to men, or should be anyways. But women do not like that. And by the way, it was right about that time and during that part of the conversation where you had Dave Cooley leading off. And this is how I knew he wanted to get this. He wanted to get a zinger in, from the get-go. But he was leading off with, women are neurotic and need male guidance. Now, if you just put it in those terms, if you just say women are neurotic and need men's guidance, that is a fire. But that's like throwing a Molotov cocktail, right? Okay, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But you're using a hammer when you need a scalpel, is what I would say. And the scalpel is this. It's one thing, I've told you guys this before. This is straight out of 33 strategies of war. Okay, it's understanding grand strategy, but it's also the difference between the two. There's two ways to win a war, right? There's the strategic way, and then there's the way of attrition. Okay, the way of attrition is just throwing bodies against the wall and throwing bodies like army versus army. Outnumber your army and you should be able to overpower them. The problem is with those is when it's force versus force, they end up annihilating each other, or the greater force annihilates just enough of the other army and takes away from its own energy, or takes away from its own manpower, right? Then there's winning through strategy. And that, I think, is where people ought to default to. Although people, especially in tradcons, don't like that. They would much rather go, well, it's God and country and, MAGA this and all of the other shit, right? They want blunt force trauma. They want force versus force. They want a war of attrition. And the problem with wars of attrition, and this is, from 33 Strategies of War and other things, is that they end up being Pyrrhic victories, okay? Meaning that you'll win, but you'll lose a lot in the sacrifice to win, if not everything, right? Everything that was important, you lost, but you did win the war, right? Strategy is different. People don't like strategy because they think it's bitch behavior. They think that if you're doing tactics, if you're doing strategies, if you're doing an end run around your opponent, if you're smarter than your opponent, you use the high ground, you use the woods, you run cavalry up, right? I mean, let's play Total War. Play Warhammer 40,000, right? You could play a horde army. You could you want to talk about orcs? Orcs are the fucking horde army, right? Just run bodies out, throw bodies at it. Tyranids, throw bodies. That's all it is. Attrition. We're gonna out saturate you, and just like, resistance is futile. But then there's the duplicitous Eldar. Then there's the Drukhari, right? Then there's the strategies. There's the winning by deception. There's the winning through tactic, winning through diplomacy, winning through like lots of there's ways to win a war that aren't so much blunt force. And that, I think, it speaks to a greater tact when it comes to argument and debate, when it comes to dealing with men and women. And I think that probably Cooley wanted to get those zingers in so bad that he leads with a war of attrition, meaning you come out swinging with your best shit immediately rather than holding your ace cards back, right? And in this case, it's men and women need male guidance, and women are neurotic. That's why men are superior. Like that, the intent, the implied message is men are superior. Okay. And that I would argue with, simply because you're not defining the terms. You're not defining the situation, the circumstances. So women can be superior to men depending on what the circumstances imply. Is it physical? No, there probably aren't. Right. I even brought that up later on in the show. Depends. Like, I don't believe in equality, and neither does Andrew Wilson. We might differ on how we come to that conclusions. I think that equality is bullshit. It's a false god. And egalitarianism and equalitarianism are bullshit, and have been so for some time, because they presume that equality happens in a vacuum. Now, I can have that conversation with Andrew. I'm probably not going to have it with Jesse Preston. But it sounds like what my audience wants to hear if I say women are neurotic and need male guidance. And what happens is, once that comes out of Dave's mouth, I'll go straight to the screen. What's she gonna say? What's gonna happen? Is the car gonna wreck in the NASCAR wreck? Is it gonna NASCAR race? You don't care about the principle. You don't care about, like, okay, now she's supposed to say, she's supposed to get offended and react emotionally, and he's supposed to come back with rationality and reason. But she didn't. They come back. Oh, well, the twins actually were very insulting, which actually, that was comic relief. I'll give the twins comic relief. But she didn't come back with that. Certainly not Amy. Certainly didn't. Lieutenant Amy didn't come back with that. She came back with some pretty good answers and stuff, which not only Dave wasn't ready for, but his audience wasn't ready for either. Now, if they would have said, now imagine this. Imagine you throw that firebomb out there, and the resident feminists all lose their shit and they just cackle like hens, which is what everybody expects, right? Imagine that doesn't happen. Now, imagine they have some sort of comeback, or imagine they agree. Like if they said, you know what, you're right. We are kind of neurotic, and we do need male guidance. Conversation over. Diffuse the whole fucking thing. Tactics. Yeah, you're right. You're kind of right about that. Now, let me explain to you some other things, right? Now that, can we move on to the next topic, right? The basis, the tactics need to be more, I should say, they need to be less telegraphing. Like, when I heard that come out of Dave, I was like, okay, I know where we're going with this. It was telegraphing intent. I'm the badass here, and you bitches are gonna listen to me, right? And they didn't. And then everybody in the fucking audience said it was disrespect. It wasn't disrespect. It was just pushback on the bullshit, on telegraphing your punches. It's the first thing I'll tell you. Like, if you fight in MMA or you're fighting in boxing or something like that, don't telegraph where you're going to go with the punch. That's exactly what they did. It's also what Andrew did too, until they realized that wasn't the kind of fight that they were going to be in. So when Jesse Preston is talking about rights and everything else, she hits it from, like, she agreed with Andrew. She did exactly the same thing. She agreed. She says, yeah, you're right. It's men are the ones who enforce our rights. Men are the ones who give us our rights, right? They conceive of it. They say should be a right, and that's how we're going to be, and that's how we do it. And women go, yeah. Now, if you would have asked any of those girls on that street interview where their rights come from, you probably would have got a much different answer, but not from Jesse, because Jesse's not stupid. Now, she's maybe a little bit misconceptions, right? Maybe she is a little bit stupid about the fact that it's some sort of fiendish plot by the tyrannical patriarchy to establish themselves in a position of unearned, unmerited power. Then maybe you can have a conversation about that. But I think it kind of diffused where Andrew was going to go with that, because he thought he was expecting a certain answer, because he's got that answer from Farah and from Jasmine Jafar and whatever dumb bitch is on whatever podcast, right? He wasn't expecting that answer. That's why it was different. Now, here's actually the clip I wanted to show you. Hang on. Because when we're talking about feels and everything else, I wanted to make sure that I get this out the door. Where did I go with that? Wasn't that one? Here we go. All right, this was the clip I wanted to show you guys. Speaking for women, on behalf of women, right? Mm-hmm. We feel unsafe. Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that. And I'll tell you why. Because women are the vulnerable sex.
Right.
They are the ones that men have to protect, provide, and provision for since we were running around in the sub-Saharan African savannas as hunter-gatherers. When women say, I feel unsafe, it's generally because they're the ones that are charged with having children, being the incubators of the next generation. So of course you're going to feel unsafe, because when you are pregnant with a child for 9 months at a pop, and then have another one and another one after that, then yes, you're the vulnerable sex, and rely on men to help have them make you feel safe in a very chaotic world that is right around the corner, right? The feeling, I understand. Actually, something behind that, I think it's something that's sort of hardwired into women's psyches, because they're the ones that have to bear the children, and they're in a very vulnerable position. Oh, Rollo's so yoked. I didn't know he was that. Like, you guys only see me like from here up on this show. Like, come on, man, throw me a bone. Yeah, so I was trying to explain the idea of the feeling of being unsafe, because she led off with that too, and I knew where she was going with that. Now, here's the other side of the nickel here, okay? So when she starts talking about how, well, if men would make us feel safe, we wouldn't be neurotic. If they made us feel safe, then where is that guidance coming from? Where's that male guidance? And I got into it later, and it kind of went over like a lead balloon, but the whole thing basically boils down to the big head babies essay, which is the reason why women feel unsafe. And if you look at the things that women vote for, if you look at when you put women into positions of political power, they tend to fixate on things that they think will make women the most safe, like the things that give them long-term security, like childcare in the workplace, right? That's based on a fundamental, existential, innate feeling of insecurity, which goes back to the days when we lived in hunter-gatherer tribes in the sub-Saharan African savannas, whenever we dropped from the trees, right? But the idea that feelings ought to be like mutual, like men should feel this way, or men should innately know all of this shit, that's where I'm gonna draw the line. I also pulled out the same conversation one more time about, men not crying at the end of Titanic doesn't mean they're emotionally stunted. Brought that up again too. But again, I was looking at these, where did I put those? I think I've got them on tap, do I? I do. I do have these on tap. There's that, and there is that. Perfect. Perfect. Please stand by. Loading pictures now. What is this? Is that it? No, not those. Oops, here we go. One and that one. Okay, getting back to that last super chat, by the way, here we go. All this stuff, I'm just going to show you the quick one. Stanford medicine study identifies distinct brain organization patterns in women and men. Stanford medicine research has developed a powerful new artificial intelligence model that, you guys like AI now, that can distinguish between male and female brains. A key motivation in this study is that sex plays a crucial role in human brain development, in aging, and in manifestation of psychiatric and neurological disorders. Got it. That was number one. Here's number two. Men and women's brains do work differently. Scientists discover for the first time. Actually, they've known this for quite some time, but they weren't able to conclusively, like definitively define this until recently. Now, this, by the way, came out February 19th of this year. Oh, I'm sorry. I hate being right all the time, right? The brains of men and women operate differently. Scientists have shown for the first time in a breakthrough that shows sex does matter in how people think and behave. Imagine that. The issue of whether male and female brains are distinct has proven controversial, with some academics arguing in society it is society rather than biology that shapes divergence. It does not. All of you here, by the way, let me here for the record now. Now we're going to get into the really hot, spicy shit here. For the record now, Rollo Tomasi was right. Destiny. Rollo Tomasi was correct when he said men and women process emotions differently, and we don't have the same hardware to do so. Your emotionalism comes from wanting to be more like a chick. That's why. The more perfect that chick is, or the more perfect that guy is, the more he looks like a chick. Oh, I'm sorry. Where did we hear this already today? Right.
Brought an awful lot of attention to the plight of young men, and he's tried to simplify down a world which teaches young men that they are defective women.
Where have I heard that before? It's a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Most of the advice that we hear for young men at the moment is, if you were just less like men, if you just behaved a little bit more like women, if you talked about your feelings a little bit more, if
well, why is it so difficult? I don't understand why.
you communicate, if you were more gentle, if you were less concerned with...
This guy is fucking channeling Rollo Tomasi. I hate to talk about, I'm talking about myself in the third person. Channeling me.
Mastery and competition and conquer and becoming better and stuff like that, you know, some of the typical masculine traits, your life would be better.
Right. Oh, gosh. Well, we can't let Rollo actually say that on Piers Morgan because he sounds gleeful when he says that, quote unquote. Sounds pretty gleeful, Chris. Sounds like something I've heard one of those red pill guys say.
% of women say they want a man to make the first move. A different study said that 50% of men say that they're afraid of making the first move for being seen as creepy. Another study said that 20% of Gen Zers say that a man approaching a woman sometimes or always constitutes harassment. So you have a world in which women are scared of being approached, men are scared of...
Sorry. Does this bitch do anything? Like she's so right. This is crazy. Thanks. See you next time. Boom. TikTok. God. Sorry, I wasn't even going to play that one. Too much. Too good. Imagine me doing it. Can you imagine me building a TikTok channel just doing this? But she can. I can't. I don't know. Fuck my life. Anyway, getting back to the point here. Once again, vindicated. Now, the greater thing here that I don't think a lot of people are going to really wrap their heads around, at least not immediately, is that this fundamentally challenges the idea of gender being separate from sex. Yeah. All your women's studies and all your gender ideology classes and all that humanities bullshit that you picked up in college about like, oh, well, you know, there's a fundamental difference between gender and sex. Fuck you. Here's the proof. You're wrong. No, there is no difference between gender and sex. Oh, gender is a social construct. No, because gender is downstream from biology. Oh, well, it looks like the sexes are different. Ergo, one gender, two gender, end of story. Fuck off. We win. Bye, bitch. Wait, hold on.
Bye, Felicia.
See you later. Yeah, all that nonsense. This is so, I've got, look for this shit to be repressed. Also, watch soon. There's going to be people who are going to try to come up with some new fucked up study about like, oh, this is why they're wrong. Here, look, we found these things. They have these one really super strong studies about like AI figured out, the difference in brain architecture between men and women. And I will guarantee you there'll be 20 more studies that will show up right now. They'll go, well, we don't know that this is really for sure. And they'll just be these loose bullshit Twitter, Alex from Date Psych style studies that are going to come out to try to disprove it. They'll put out about 20, bullshit, half-assed, half-baked research, and then people will forget all about it, and they'll go right back to where they were before, because you know why? They would much rather have red meat, and they would much rather look like this, because that's more fun than confronting the fact that we have been lied to by our intellectuals, by our gender experts, our relationship experts, right? Jamie Lynn, all these chicks who are like want to give men male dating advice. How about this? Here's some male dating advice. Here, if you're female life coach or your female dating advice, so your self-help book doesn't start with men and women's brains do not work do work differently. Science has discovered for the first time. If it doesn't begin and end with that fucking sentence, bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye. No thanks.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that. If it doesn't begin and end with the fact that men and women are different and they require different modalities, let's just say, for like when it comes to therapy, when it comes to like understanding, when it comes to like, oh, well, men emote this way, women emote this way. If you are dealing with a therapist who says, oh, men and women are just fundamentally the same, get the fuck out. Bye. That is not where you need to be. Sorry, in the 21st century, we figured it out. Why would you go back to fucking bleeding yourself with leeches? Why would you go back to the medical procedures of the 16th century or the 18th century? Why would you do that? You wouldn't do that, would you? No, you wouldn't. So why the fuck would you be relying on the same crap that these touchy-feely psychotherapy bullshit creators? Why would you even follow them? Why would you follow even Jordan Peterson at this point? Just that right there nullifies about half of the bullshit he's been talking about for forever. Nullified, dead, in the water. Time to come up with some new fucking ideas. Time to come up with something else. What else do you got, man? Because I'm still waiting on you. Tiffany, I'm doing a show. Tiffany's sending me pictures of, what is this? She's got new merch. My goodness. My favorite porn star has merch. Go get Tiffany's new merch. Would you like to see it? I could put it up. She'd like that. Or if it doesn't start with Stanford medicine identifies distinct brain organization patterns in men and women and men, get out. Get out. Men and women are different. I will reiterate one more time. Just because you didn't cry at the end of fucking Titanic doesn't mean that you are emotionally stunted. It means you're not a woman. Congratulations. You're not a fucking chick. And ladies, just because you didn't cry at the end of, Saving Private Ryan or The Predator, Lord knows, that doesn't mean you're not emotionally stable. It's because you're not a dude. Congratulations. Get the fuck. Congratulations. Get out. It's more than a man could take.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yes. But that's the thing. Okay, so in all seriousness now, and I'm going to get to super chats here in just a second. In all seriousness, this fundamentally changes things. I don't think people really realize just how fundamentally these studies change things. Okay, now they have done other studies and molecular studies, like cellular studies about men and women's brains architecture, which I have tried over. I've done full episodes on that on this show that nobody watches because there's not enough red meat. But let's see. Do I have? I might have even had one of them still loaded. Do I? Nah, I don't. I thought I had some from the old brain scan ones. Oh well. Maybe I don't. Sort of puts this shit in perspective, doesn't it? There's one I had loaded. So anyways, one more time, I will reiterate this. This changes everything, but I'll tell you why it changes everything. Because for the last 60 years since the sexual revolution, we have presumed blank slate-ism across the board. And the blank slate is bullshit. And if the blank slate is bullshit, that means a lot of the Enlightenment era thinking and a lot of the Enlightenment era hopes and dreams and all men are created equal and a lot of the fundamental rights that we presume today that are enforced by men are founded in that blank slate. They're founded in the idea that we're all born equal and we all have an equal chance and we all should have equal opportunity and yada yada yada, and that there's no difference between men and women except for the plumbing. Like that's the whole thing. And we've been clinging to this lie since the 20th century, but since certainly the sexual revolution. And now we have new data. New data has arrived. We have to reassess. Do you think that's going to happen anytime soon? Probably not in my fucking lifetime, because everybody wants red meat. Everybody would rather have that controversy. They would rather go back to that comforting dopamine hit or the endorphin hits that they get from outrage brokers. So it serves commercial interests to not accept this shit. So everything's about the blank slate. My number one gripe with Destiny from day one is the fact that he's an emotionalist. He speaks emotionalism. He speaks emotional language. Oh, well, it would be great if we all could just get along and we all, we've evolved past that stuff. We've evolved past. Why can't men just be men and just or I love this. There was I think I might even have the clip still on load. Michael Knowles going up against what was Farah in this case, and she was talking about how the evangelical right or the moral majority, the tradcon right, in some way makes certain jobs like nursing and teaching, makes them into sort of like pussy jobs. Like you're a beta male if you take these jobs, kind of thing. And the fact of the matter is like men have different priorities and they have different incentives and they're disincentivized to be teachers. Men make pretty damn good teachers. The fact is they're just simply not going to take those things. They don't have the same interest in them. And it's a shame because they are definitely needed, but it has nothing to do with tradcon saying, oh, well, if you take these jobs, you take a nursing job, you're a pussy. I talked to a teacher, a female teacher on Wednesday. I talked to Kristen McDonald, also known as Ava James, a 0.04% top earner on OnlyFans, lives in Canada. We did an exclusive interview with her, who used to be a special needs, autistic kids teacher who got kicked out of her school for being on OnlyFans. Now, take that as you want. Should she be there? Should she not? That's not the point. The point is she's not there. A teacher that for 10 years taught autistic kids. Well, they were right to kick her out. Okay, well, that's not the point. The point is OnlyFans is a better opportunity for a woman. And I guess like if you were to switch the genders, you could say if there was something that was comparable to OnlyFans, it's OnlyFans is a bigger financial incentive than to remain as a teacher of autistic children, which is very much necessary and needed in society. Nursing, very much needed in society. Teaching, very much needed in society. Working in raw sewage, plumbers, electricians, all this other shit, right? Now, women don't have to worry about that because they're simply not drawn to those professions. But let's just say, for sake of argument, it's nursing. I've been on Saucecast. I was on Adam Sosnick's show with a woman who had gone from being a surgical nurse, 8 years of college, and I guess two of those had to be medical school, right? I mean, had to have some pretty extensive training, had to pay for a lot of this, had really high student loan bills, and was a surgical nurse for quite some time, made a good chunk of change, but like maybe $80,000, $90,000 a year doing what she was doing. It could be at 100, but even still, she started doing OnlyFans, got fired from her job, and OnlyFans fucking her husband. She doesn't do anything but have sex with her husband on OnlyFans and then sends like titty shots and lingerie and stuff. Paid off her loans in the first 2 months of being on OnlyFans and is now making somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 million a year because she shows her ass. And she's like in her 40s and said, you know what? If I'd have had it all over to do again and the opportunity exists to do OnlyFans, I would have done that and would never have gone into nursing. And congratulations, we're now down one surgical nurse because of OnlyFans. Because it's there, because the incentive is there. And is it important? Yes, it's important. But the thing is like you're not going to see men gravitate towards certain professions or gravitate towards certain women or gravitate towards certain things. Why? Because they're different than women. We don't cry at the end of Titanic, but we are told from the time we are 5 years old, little Johnny is told that if he doesn't emote like a woman, just like Chris Williamson just said, I wonder where he got this from. But if little Johnny doesn't emote and learn like a little girl, there's something wrong with little Johnny, and we need to sedate him, and we need to give him Ritalin or I don't know, Adderall or Vyvanse to make him normal, because normal is female and has been for a while. And that's why this throws all of that on its head. Normal is female. If you could just be more like a bitch, the world will be a better place. But we still need male guidance because women are neurotic, right? But we still need tough men. We still need guys to be guys. We don't even need tough men. We just need men. We just need dudes to be fucking dudes. And we have to stop this social engineering program to condition. It's like fucking Clockwork Orange, man. It's like to socially, behaviorally condition men to be something they simply aren't born to be. You want to talk about like what's interesting is I always hear this. You probably heard this a million times when homosexuals say, I was just born this way. How come guys can't say I was just born this way? That's why I don't cry at the end of fucking Titanic. And you have to accept me for that. And I'm not a bad person for that. Now, I use that as an extreme example, but if you go and you look at like the fact where when women say, oh, men need to go to therapy, men are sexier when they go to therapy, and guys hear that and they go, oh, well, I'm going to be the best go to therapy guy there is because that hot bitch wants me to go, and fuck it, I'm going to go if that gets me laid, right? I'm going to out therapy all the rest of these guys because I'm a guy and competition is everything, right? But if you tell guys, you need therapy, you need this, you need that constantly, it's this constant droning. If you identified more with the feminine, if you got more in touch with your female side, if you expressed your emotions, thank you very much, Chris Williamson, for reiterating everything I've said. Oh, I don't know, for the last 12 to 15 fucking years. Rip off artist. Man, fuck you. Fuck you, Chris. God damn it, man. Like, Pierce Morgan, come to the fucking source. Dump fucking Pearl. Dump fucking Chris Williamson. Dump everybody. Come and get it. I'll be happy to go on your fucking show. I'll be happy to go out to wherever the fuck. Is he in the UK? I think he's in the UK. Long story short, men and women are different. I've been saying this for a very long time. I'm glad we finally have like some conclusive, like hard data proof of this, like at least in the 2024. I've seen other studies that have been done that have more or less implied this, but now we have like 100% like hard ass proof about this. Men and women are different, but we live in a society that says if men don't emote and experience emotion and don't experience life like a woman, there is something wrong with them. It is toxic masculinity for men. Anything that is masculine, conventionally masculine, that doesn't align itself with the female experience of life is toxic, and we need to crush it and stamp it out. So when people say, oh, we're still victims of the patriarchy. The patriarchy died in 1971 and has been dying a slow death since then. Patriarchy is long gone. Anyone saying, oh, well, we have this patriarchal thing, get the fuck out of here. There is, sorry, I got to do this again. Get out. It is not that way. And anyone telling you, by the way, oh, well, we have, the reason why we have school shooters and their boys and everything is because they got bullied and because their dads gave them guns and because their football coaches made them take a lap and, kicked them in the balls and made them feel like they couldn't cry. And no, they don't. No, they don't. Not for the last, at least 3 generations. No one's done that. In fact, everything is the opposite of that. Those guys are expressing their emotions with an assault rifle. They're doing exactly what you told them to do. They're just doing it the way that a guy would do it. They default to anger, which is what I also said in Access Vegas. So we need to, you want to, like, people keep saying, well, Rollo, you're long on explanations and you're long on rhetoric and you're long on theories. Where's the practical? All right, here you go. You want to stay, you really want to change society. And I don't give advice, and I don't give this, consider this a suggestion. Okay. You want to change the world. You want to save the West. Start by embracing the fact that men and women are fucking biologically, clinically different from one another, and embrace that. Seize authority back. Take the power back. Authority. We talk about authority and responsibility. I will push back. The first place I will start with any TradCon is authority versus responsibility. I will start right there. If you're going to debate me, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, any of you dumb bitches from Daily Wire, expect me to come up with that one first. Expect me to start talking about responsibility and authority. And if you don't have and you won't, but if you have no counter to that, be expected to get owned in that debate. Have something, come correct, or don't come at all. Maybe that's why they don't. But that's a number one. Number two is we have to stop using their language. We have to stop. When it comes to pronouns, when it comes to demi boys and, quasi girls and all this other stuff, stop reaffirming that horseshit. Stop playing along with the LARPing. It's not a Renaissance fair. We're not breaking character. Just don't do it. Stop using their language. End of story. Well, what do you mean, Rollo? Stop using partner as in a sentence. Stop pandering to what you know is neurotic, what you know is psychotic behavior, what you know is a reality distortion bubble. Because every time you agree, like I keep telling you guys this, when it comes to pathological personalities, the people who insist on you using their pronouns, the people who insist on you using proper language, the people who insist on making the next, Disney movie about female empowerment, even though it's the same fucking story. It's just the same fucking story mill over and over again. Those are the people who want you to use their language, because every time you do, it reaffirms them. It reaffirms their correctness. Stop using their language. And you can begin that stopping by using this bullshit or considering that men and women are the same. They are not. Provably, empirically, they are not. I've said this before. I'll reiterate this again. The language of empiricism sounds like hate to the language of emotionalism. And there's a reason for that, because emotionalism cannot communicate in anything other than feels. So if you go and you throw out, like I said this again, if you go and throw out hard data, if you go out and throw out like those two studies, for example, would be a great starting point. You throw that data out there. If you don't tell people how to feel about that, maybe that's what I'm doing here. But if you don't tell people how to feel about that, they will hate you for not telling them how they should feel about it. And what they will do is they will insert what they think you mean just by relating that data to them. So why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me that men and women are do you think I'm wrong? Yes, I do. Would you like to discuss that? No, I wouldn't. You have to stop using the language of the woke. You have to stop using, and I'll stop using the language of trads too, because they're guilty of the same sins. They want you to agree with them. And so therefore you've got to speak Christianese or whatever the fuck it is. Christ is king. No, get the fuck out of here. Can we actually have a real conversation and get down to business? Can we solve something? Can we actually can we come to a consensus on what's best practices now that we have this accurate data that's sitting right here in front of us? No, we can't. We're going to go back to the 20th century and see how it aligns with Carl Jung or fucking Jordan Peterson. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, let's go back to, what did you say? I didn't like Thursday's show. It was toxic fighting and bickering. Please keep it fun. I tried to. I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was fun to me. So I get what you said here, Alvin. I just wanted to come back to this real quick. But the girls were focused more on the delivery. Yeah, true. And that's always going to, what did I say? The language of emotionalism is always going to, or the language of empiricism is always going to sound like hate to the language of emotionalism. That's why they fixate on the tone. God knows, since as far back as my days on So Suave as a moderator on that forum, I got accused of this, tone policing. Well, what you say is true, but couldn't you say it nicer? Couldn't you like put it into like, I don't know, high prose? Couldn't you like make a haiku? If you could take the red pill and put it into a haiku, and I don't know how many consonants, whatever, you just set it up, then people would be more willing to digest it and consider it. No, they wouldn't, because they don't agree with the fucking info, because the information, especially with the new information we have about men and women, fundamentally challenges your beliefs, the beliefs that your ego and your personality were developed on over the course of a lifetime. So yeah. It is always going to be about tone policing. It's always going to be about, deliver it nicer. No, I'm not. Because that doesn't get us. I played the nice card. The nice card doesn't buy much. Your phrase, women are better together than they are apart, is a message that's much needed in today's culture. Yeah, well, and I know why. Why do you think modern women are so against this message? Even every movie and show pushes against this. Yeah, well, because that's, you want to, when, here, I'll give you an example one more time here. This guy is the functional equivalent of the woman who doesn't want to accept that men and women should be like complements to one another. Like that guy, this guy right here is basically the functional equivalent of all those girls who said, we don't need men. You tradcons, you are right. You're right in that sense. But what you were wrong about is you don't watch the entire video where the guys at the end go, we really need women. We want to fuck them. They're attractive. They're awesome. You don't comment on that. You comment on the fact that somebody, I think it was Brian from whatever podcast, that Brian took the time to post that on his Twitter feed. And now you think that that's him being like punching women in the children in the women and children in the face. Funny how you didn't comment about any of the guys at the end saying women are wonderful. Funny how that doesn't make up. Didn't make it into the conversation with Amala. So I should probably define that. I've said this so many times I can't even remember the reason why. Would you like to know the origin of that quote? The origin of that quote came from me looking at fMRI scans of men and women's brains. I've done that. I did that on like probably 4 shows back, actually, about the scans. When you take a woman's brain and a man's brain, and you look at the synapse and the connections between the two, how for women, I believe it's women's fires across hemispheres and men's goes vertically. And if you lay them on top of each other, they're like the perfect complement. And again, it goes back to what I've said before, like my weaknesses as a man are made up by my wife's strengths, and my strengths make up for my wife's weaknesses. So when you put men and women together and we're a good fit and we're a good match, which I dare say my wife and I are, you have a pretty good, effortless relationship. Why? Because men and women are innate, evolved complements to one another. We are better together than we are apart. You want to know what's been keeping men and women apart? It's been this horse shit. It has been a misunderstanding of this. This, prior to understanding the fact that men and women's brain architecture is fundamentally different, prior to that, we expect men and women, blank slate, we expect men and women to be exactly the same. We are not. So when you expect men to behave, think, experience life like women, and vice versa, women to experience life like men, that's when problems start. That's when you want to know why, like, what is it, Scandinavian countries, like the most gender egalitarian countries in the world, the populations still default to what we would consider conventionally masculine and feminine roles when it comes to that, family and career, because we're different. How hard is it to fucking wrap your head around? It's like, curb this fucking high. Get up over it, man. You want to change things? You want to change the world? Start promoting the idea that men and women are better together than we are apart. And as part of that, women are going to probably have to bear the brunt of the sacrifice when it comes to that, because for going on 60 some odd since the sexual revolution, for going on 60 some odd years, we wanted to believe that women can be just as effective as men, just like Gloria Steinem. Like I think I threw that out there not too long ago. Gloria Steinem, talking about how women have become or are becoming the men that they wanted to marry. Well, guess what? Those women don't have, well, I mean, unless they go to in vitro fertilization, they don't have kids, because the idea is that women are these standalone things that if a man and a woman are functionally equivalents, then androgyny seems like a goal state. Do you guys remember when I was criticizing Destiny when he was talking about how men and women should have, like, men should just have a little bit more masculinity and this much femininity, and women should have this much femininity and this much masculinity? And it's like, it doesn't work that way. That's not how it is. You know how I know this? That's how I know. That's why Carl Jung is had some contributions to give at this time. It is time to move on. He's not the fucking Messiah. Anima animus is just been disproven. Here we go. Right there. Here we go. Right here. Bye. Bye, Carl. See you later. Bye, Carl Jung. Bye. See you. You had some decent contributions, but now it's time to move on. Can we please, for the love of fuck, move on? Because you're going backwards. You cannot back into the future. That's, by the way, the Dune quote. You cannot back yourself into the future. There is no pendulum. We want to be great when we get back to 1950s and men understand that be men and women are women and blah, blah, blah. And no, that's never happening ever again. You can learn from that and go forward with that and try to make a better future as a result of that and remember that shit and learn the lessons of the past. But you're not going, unless you got a DeLorean that can do 88 miles an hour and it's a time machine and you got the flux capacitor working, you're not going anywhere. You're only going this way, not this way. That's the long and the short of it. And we need to stop this bullshit. You want to know why I don't believe in the enjoy the decline stuff? Because honestly, if you're going to ask me my opinion of things, I think we can probably have a pretty bright future if we just would fucking hunker down and accept this shit and move on. No, the 20th century was fun. Great. I love the 80s. God knows I still love the 80s. But it's gone. Move the fuck forward. But we're not going to. That's why Trump's going to win or Biden's going to win. You got to remember that Trump and Biden, by the way, I hate to get political on you, but you want to know why we lose either way. You know why? Because they're 20th century candidates. Hillary Clinton was a 20th century candidate. She's a 20th century brand for sure. Can we have a 21st century president? I'm going to, I don't know, maybe I'll never see that day because I'll probably die in a fiery car crash because I drive too fast. But it will be interesting to see the day when we have like a 21st century president. We're still, you want to know why things are so fucked up with our electoral shit here in the United States? Is because we're still clinging to 20th century ideals for voting and democracy and candidates and everything else in a 21st century world. We're still clinging to that shit. And we were still clinging to that, social constructionist shit right up until, I don't know, maybe the mid 2015-ish. People saw some of us saw the writing on the wall before then. But now, guess what? Oh, here's 21st century telling the 20th century to go fuck itself. That's what that is. So, yeah, sorry. I waxed a little bit violent on you. Thank you for that super chat, though. Ishmasta. I don't care to hear women's opinions. It's so annoying. It's annoying, so I just ignore these shows. It's junk food. You were correct. Stick to Ryan, Rollo, and Rule 0. Okay. Well, that's why I still do this show, too. I don't mind them disagreeing. Thank you, Saralita. I think we missed talking about the topic a lot. It was mostly about the tone of the arguments. Okay, well, again, don't get lost in the tone. Let's focus on the topic. Yeah, we should have. And I'll tell you, the thing is like, it's not just the women in the tone. It's also the men in the tone, because the men, like Andrew Wilson, sorry, Andrew, had a problem with the tone of the double time twins. And maybe rightly so. Can you talk more on Robin Crosby? Really? I knew Robin, actually. I live in LA and I love both rat guitar players. Yeah, they were great. Warren DeMartini. I would put Warren DeMartini up in the top tier of guitar shredders of all time. He should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Very underrated guitar player. Robin died from AIDS, actually, HIV, HIV infection. And drug overdose, of course. But because of that, he put on a lot of weight at the end too, which is kind of tragic because I remember him in like the early 80s and he was a tall dude. That dude was a lady killer back then. And Robin I don't think enough people realize that Robin did, I'm going to say half, but at least a third of the solos for Rat back in the day. You just like, they might not have been on the most popular songs because Warren was actually, of the two, and not to take anything away from Robin, but like of the two, Warren was definitely the superior guitar player. But yeah, I still like Robin by quite a bit. What's up, Rollo? What's up, Derek? How are you? Welcome to the show. Can you do a micro bikini edition of Access Vegas? Hold on. Great big book of everything. Writing this down now. Sure we can. Micro bikini. You know what's funny is like I can think of at least 6 girls that would probably do that. We were going to, God, can't believe I'm going to say this. We were going to do when we were doing the AV and the Adult Video Network Expo Awards show. I think we had Domo come in for that, and we had some of the other girls. We did some recruiting, which is probably not the wisest idea, but we did the recruiting from the expo. We had a little bit more response this year. And if I would have said, can you come in lingerie? They wanted to. They wanted to come in lingerie and like micro bikinis or whatever the fuck they call it, right? But they wanted to come in like spicy outfits. And I was like, as long as you have pasties on underneath, it would be okay. Because I have to be very careful because I have the biggest channel for Access Vegas of the 4 that we simulcast to. And the last thing I want is nudity on. I would love it if I could avoid a strike, but the last thing I want is nudity on my show, because the minute there is the minute there will be this landslide of mass reporting on me. So, and I don't want that. I have worked very hard to keep this channel functional and solvent. Thank you very much. I will say Thursday night show was a perfect example of the language of empiricism will always sound like hate, to then anger to the language of emotionalism. Thank you for picking up on that. This space is insane, bro. I'll default to your sobering work. Thank you. You can read my stuff. I hear dogs barking outside. Hope everything's fine. Maybe someone's at the tiller. One reason, Alex Green, thank you. One reason I think women shouldn't be in the military is prestige. The prestige is lost. The prestige of being in the military. The military was a place for boys to become men. Now it's about accommodating women. Boys need cultural initiations to become men. Yeah, we need rites of passage for boys to become men, because I think there needs to be some sort of demarcation between like your youth and being in manhood. But the problem is we think of manhood, especially now, as ridiculous. So a rite of passage from boyhood to manhood is seen as like LARPing, or it's seen as ridiculous, or at worst homoerotic. So another thing that needs to change. But yeah. Crits, do you have an opinion on people flexing on their friends' money? Example, Rollo flexing on Mike Sartain's money. Me? I don't have more money. Shit, are you kidding? Mike flexes on me. It's the other way around. Flexing on his money. I flex on his body. I got better body than I think I'm better shape than Mike a little bit. I don't know. Mike's no slouch. Mike's for 46 years old. He's in pretty good shape, but I'm 55. So I don't flexing on his money. Fuck, I don't have, he's way more paid than I am. Why does delivery matter more than the message to women? Well, I could say the same thing about guys too, because that's why you get guys look like this. It's not. That's just it. Because the delivery is about the emotion. Okay. Let me, for your $1.99, Josie, I'm going to tell you why. Would you like to know why? Because women prioritize emotion before reason. When you look at the processing order of new data or stimuli, for lack of a better term, human beings usually process it through instinct, emotion, and reason. For women, that's how it goes: with instinct, emotion, and then reason. For men, it's usually instinct, reason, and then emotion. We process it. We instantly process it through instinct. Then we look at reasonably and rationally, like how are we going to solve this problem? Is it a problem? What do I have to do in this situation? And then we process how we felt about that situation. For women, it's instinct. How do I feel about this shit? And then what am I going to do about this shit? It's just a different prioritization in the order structure there. So again, I don't know that this is necessarily something that's empirically provable by like brain scans like we had before, but I'm fairly confident it will be at some point. It's the triune mind theory. Once again, if you are unfamiliar with that, I just so happen to have, do I have the triune? Oh, I don't. Triune mind theory is the idea that there's the lizard brain, which is this brain stem. Then there is the hypothalamus, which is where emotions are processed. And then there's the gray matter, which is where reason and learning take place, long-term memory, right? So men prioritize that order differently than women do. So as a result, that's why delivery matters more than the message itself, because men and women are what, children? That's right, different. And they're different not only in physique, but also in brain structure, in our psychologies and everything else, and in our communication. So that comes back to this right here. So I'm going to explain to you why. The reason why is because women tend to communicate covertly, and they're better at more forms of communication. Okay. That doesn't make them superior in some senses. It just depends on what the situation and the circumstance necessitate. If circumstances necessitate an instant, empirical, problem-solving answer, men might be superior in that communication because men tend to prioritize information and content in their conversations. That's why we're very blunt. We say what we mean what we say. And there's no art. There's less art. There's just a different way that we communicate because we have different priorities in communication. Women communicate for the sheer love of communication. It gives them pleasure to communicate. And that's good. It's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Just depends on what it's being purposed for in any particular situation. So in the situation we were in Access Vegas, the idea that tone policing or that, what'd you say here, that delivery matters more, it matters more to women because they communicate differently than men do. I tried my best to explain this on Access Vegas, where I was saying we're going to end up talking past one another because men are going to say, well, it doesn't matter about the delivery. It matters about the content, the information that's being sent to you. And then for women, it's like, well, yeah, that's important, but can you be nicer about it? Because their priority is the context. How does it make me feel? If it makes me feel bad, I am less likely to listen to it and digest it and interpret it because it made me feel bad before I got to the point where I could go to, like, remember, instinct, emotion, and reason. It passes through emotion and then it goes to reason. For men, it goes through instinct, reason, and then how did I feel about it? That's the priority order of the information. So if something is delivered in such a way that women go, you were disrespecting me, or didn't feel great, I didn't feel good. Well, yeah, because I'm speaking the language of content over context. Women want context before they get to content. That's why. That's the long and the short of it. Okay. Yeah. Chris Williamson is a ninja watcher. But here? He certainly read my work, or he's certainly familiar with it. Oh, my goodness. Nuke has decided to grace us with his presence, turning 35 years old tomorrow. Oh, God, I wish I could be 35 again. Here's my work. Read your book. Here's my work. Read your book while in the Navy dating a BPD chick. I'm sorry. Today, I've already helped several people keep from self-deleting. Good. Thank you. Each one tell one. Guys, take this seriously. You might just live the life you always wanted to. Salute. Thank you very much. And happy birthday there, Nuke. Rational Trucker, once again, thank you. Thank you for everything you do to save men from the final solution. Add me to that list. If I hadn't become a trucker, I wouldn't have learned so much from your 5-hour podcast. We are not going for 5 hours today, my friend. I hate to disappoint you. Tell the haters to go to you. Tell the haters to
tell these bitches to go to hell.
Go to hell. HALE. Only Big Mo can enunciate quite like Big Mo. Please, no more insufferable, angry spinsters on AV. We haven't. Who? Spinsters. They're not spinsters. They get laid quite a bit. Thank you very much. So if men focus on content and women focus on tone, how do you meet each other in the middle? You don't. You don't. There's no middle ground. That's just it. Here's how you meet each other in the middle. Well, here's how okay. I can tell women one thing and I'll tell men another thing. Here's how, as a man, here's how you deal. You understand, first and foremost, you understand that women and men do not communicate like each other. Here's where I get myself into trouble, Thomas, is I will talk to women in the show, or I'll talk to them off air, or maybe I'm interacting with them. Like if I'm talking to, say, and I love Tiffany. I really love Tiffany. People don't understand. Like, why would you be with this dumb bitch who's an export star, blah, blah, blah. I love Tiffany. I shamelessly love Tiffany. I shamelessly love Maya. I shamelessly love Domo. I shamelessly love my wife. I shamelessly love whoever. Like, oh, what can you say that? You're supposed to hate them. I'm not supposed to hate anybody. Don't hate anybody. That's stupid. But the when people see me like engaging with women, or people say, how would you open? Right. This is a good example. How would you open? Here's what I would do. Right. It sounds like canned and schmaltzy. And when I'm conversing with women, when I'm like communicating with women, I think a lot of people think, oh, Rollo's simping. Oh, he's talking to these girls. He's saying things. He's communicating with them. And I do so because I understand female nature. And so I might adjust my language so that I can be more clearly understood by women. And I think a lot of guys, remember what I said. Here's a better example before I fuck this up. Here's a better example. Remember what I said about the difference in winning a war is attrition versus strategy. Think of men's communication style as attrition. Like, boom, 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 boom. Here's the content. Here's the information. Here's what you got to do. Here's the process. Stick to the process. Here's wax on, wax off, right? Here's the data. Here's the information. Use this for your betterment. Make $1 million. Get in a gym and get in better shape. Learn game, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. That's all blunt force. It's all direct. And anything that isn't direct is bitch behavior. Stop being a little bitch. Right? That's male communication. Women's communication is strategy. Women's communication is subtlety, innuendo, subcommunication, inference, dirty looks, body language, just the shit that you wear. Right? You want to know why women think that men are like really stupid and simple and everything? Because it's easier to dismiss the guys that they don't want to have anything to do with. Men are actually very complex. Women don't want to admit that they are. They just don't want to deal with the majority of men. So what's the easiest way to get rid of them? Call them simpleton idiots. They're just dumb. They're just big children. Men is, oh yeah, you're right. But men are like the men that women want to fuck and get with. They're much more complex. He's so deep. He's so cerebral and complex. Not really more than anybody else, but women now accept the fact that guy is more complex. But for men's communication style, it's more blunt force. It's more attrition based. It's more like force for force, right? It's blunt. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Women, it's strategy. Women have always had to, as the vulnerable sex, their only means to power has been through subtlety, innuendo, through networking. You want to know why women have larger social networks than men and always have for time immemorial? Is because they've needed it. It's been necessary. You want to know where it takes a village to raise a child? You know where that comes from? That comes from women, not from guys. Guys would never come up with some shit like that. Women do, because there's strength in numbers and there's security in the masses, in the groups. Oh, what now? Oh, sorry, Mike Woody. Why does everybody? Okay. Don't call me in the middle of a show. You know I'm fucking doing a show. This is why I've been remiss in like silencing my phone and everything during the shows. But it's interesting to see how many people like, oh, what's it, Sunday? Rollo's not doing anything. I think I'll text him. Come on, man. Yes. What'd you say here, Kate? You don't have to give me a super chat. I'll just put you on there. Oh, no, he's addressing Kate. He must be simping. To be frank, who says that in real life? To be frank. To be honest, maybe. I don't know. To be frank, you're not frank. The women in Access Vegas tend to be older than the girls on whatever podcast. They do. Our youngest has been at least 21. We tend to want to get girls who can still drink, okay, who are of legal drinking age. We don't get them much younger than that. On whatever podcast, and often single and made lots of money on OnlyFans or more legitimate means. So spinster is not totally off description. No, it's not. But when I think of spinster, I think of older women who should have been married. It's like old maid, right? Who should have been married at the time. I could technically, I could make the case that a woman like Jamie Lynn or Jamie Villamore. God, Jamie Villamore is 43. She looks fucking fantastic. Yeah, I would with the power and the impact of Thor's hammer would. But she's 43. She got 2 kids. And, you know, people go, well, technically she meets the definition of being a spinster. But you see Jamie Villamore, Villamor. That's it. Look her up on Instagram. You will immediately understand what I'm talking about. She was on the very first episode of Access Vegas. Still a good friend of mine and a good friend of Mike's, but she hasn't been on since. I'd really love to get her back. But 43, 2 kids, and go look at her on Instagram, Jamie Villamore. Holy mother of God. But technically meets the definition of spinster, 43 and single mommy. So no, it's okay. I got you. I got you, Kate. Don't worry about it. No, I do understand what you're saying. But yeah. What did you say? Rollo, I saw a short, Mike Sartain versus JAL. No, it's not happening. In fact, I'm not even supposed to say those letters. If you don't know who JAL is, I'm not going to say, because just to utter his name is to invite a lawsuit. That ought to tell you who I'm talking about. Lawsuit Johnny. How about that? I don't think I'm stepping on anybody's like IP, your intellectual property, by saying it's lawsuit Johnny. How's that? Can I say lawsuit Johnny without getting a C&D order? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. And honestly, I don't care. And I think probably the best way to deal with lawsuit Johnny is just to ignore, because he gives us more publicity than anything else. And let's see. I wonder how many people put a 1 in the chat if you know who I'm talking about. Maybe that'll clear things up. It can't get me if you guys are the ones making the comments. I think of spinsters as Mrs. Haberdasher persona. Do you know what a haberdasher is? Personally wealthy either through inheritance or their own means. Okay, gotcha. You don't know who I'm talking about? Come on now. Lawsuit Johnny. I can't say what country he's from, but it is a South American country. He lives in South America somewhere. Just some random dude. Lawsuit Johnny. Yeah. So, I think, where did I put that? God, that pissed me off so much. Where did this other one go? Oh, no. Oh, that's old. Hold on. You guys don't want to see that one. No. Cooley's video was pretty good. I should put that one up too. Oh yeah, Pink Pill podcast. Do you think Jamie Lynn is a spinster?
Do women end most marriages? They're correct. Women do, but do you want to know why? Because
so there's always the why. I believe she's in her late 30s. Pretty sure. CJ Sparks is in her late 30s. She's all right. She's a piece of ass for being that old. I generally don't like big hippie girls. Like I'm like Jamie's like CJ Sparks is like pushing maximum density for my preferences, but she's so nice and she's so fun and bubbly and everything. It's like I kind of gotta give her a break. I'm like the definition of like a hot girl to me is thigh gap. You got the thigh gap, I'm all about it. I don't measure by like, you know how like brothers measure like by the booty size. No, thigh gap. Thigh gap is all. What else we got going here? So let's just let's get some stuff out of the way here. I will be doing the next show in Las Vegas. It will be at Red One Studios. We will be doing it on Access Vegas. We will not be doing it this Thursday because I'm moving. But then the following Thursday, I believe the 14th is when we're going to do it next, because the 8th is out because we were supposed to do Babes in Toyland, but instead we're doing a Grammys thing out in Los Angeles. So I'll be doing that. All things working out the way they should. That'll be on the 9th though. And this is going to be a test for me. I might even live stream this, but I might have to drive the Camaro from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, which is technically it's a 5-hour drive. I'm going to see if I can do it in 4. But that is the Grammys party that's coming up on the 9th. Mike has that set up, and I think I might go to it. I have gone to the Grammys before. I went to the Grammys when I was 22 years old. I went. You guys, do you remember my one and only MILF girlfriend? I told you the stories about this. When I was 22, I was with the girl who was 41. She was a manager of my band. She took me to the Grammys one year. Boy, that is a story and a half. I met Gary Coleman from Different Strokes. If you don't know who Gary Coleman is, you're probably not a Gen Xer. I met him there. The only reason I went is because I knew the guys from the band Warrant. They were there for some reason. I don't know why. But I went there. Maybe they were I don't know if they got a Grammy. Maybe they did. Maybe they were up for something. I knew the guys in Warrant, and so we were supposed to be going and hanging out with them, although we ended up hanging out with a lot of other different people. But so technically, if I go, this will be the second time I've gone to the Grammys. Rollo, you and a man, found you on So Suave years ago and started reading your blog, The Book of Pook and Chateau Artiste. Continued success, my friends. Oh, thank you very much, Paul Allen. The Paul Allen. So yeah, that's going to be the 9th. Then what else? About Ned. Ned refractured his arm, as I said. I think I mentioned this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. He's got another trip to the vet on Tuesday, and I don't know if they're going to X-ray him or not. We were going to do a bone marrow transplant kind of thing because they were suggesting to do like the stem cells from the bone marrow. They got to put it in a centrifuge and do all this crazy shit to it. The problem is, you're goddamn right. There you go. Wait a minute. You're goddamn right. I loved Warren. You want to talk about a red pill tragedy? Janny Lane. Yeah, if you know anything about Warren. But yeah, so he will be going to the vet on Tuesday. We're going to get a better assessment, I think, then. He's in a hard cast right now. The problem that he had was I think they might have pulled the plate out a little early, but he got another fracture as a result of pulling the pin or the screws out. And so it's a different type of fracture, and he's in really good spirits. He wants to play. He's in a hard cast now, so he can like use it as a weapon against Anna. And he like waves it around. Like, I have to be careful because it'll hit you right in the nuts. But he's doing very, very good. And I don't want to fuck him up by like giving him bone marrow or do a bone marrow procedure right before we go down to Las Vegas. So our vet knows another vet in Las Vegas and is aware of the situation. So he'll be getting top shelf help down in Las Vegas. So I'm going to move him and then do the bone marrow when we're already down in Vegas. So that's his situation. Is the James Sexton AV show going to be with the girls or a panel show with you and Mike? Yes, both, and as much as we can get. I have a feeling without well, thank you for ruining my build up there, Iron Frame. Jim Sexton will be in Vegas, according to him, between the 14th and the 18th of March. So you can expect us to be doing a show with the girls. Do you think that he's going to miss this panel show? I don't think so. He'll be on with that, and we are going to do a one-on-one with him for sure. I'm going to try my damnedest to see if I can get anybody from whoever has a disagreement with this one, the red pill guys, about divorce. If you want to talk about divorce, TradCon guys, this is the time to do it. Like the middle of March, when we got Jim in town, he's doing some Brazilian jiu-jitsu thing that's going on. And he's also, I think he has something else going on when he's in Vegas, but which is cool. So he's going to be on. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to want to hit us up to get him on their show. Guys, if you want to get Jim Sexton on your show, you get your happy ass to Vegas and you come here, bitch. You come to us. I ain't coming to you. So you want Jim? Show up here. I know Brian from whatever podcast really wants to get Jim Sexton on. Brian, come here. Anybody else? Come here. Myron and Fresh, come here. You can get him, but you got to come to us this time. Sorry, gonna be a dick about it this time. So there you go. Now, last but not least, I have to talk about this, and then I'm done. Okay. So everybody kept asking me about Pearl and Myron and everything that's been going on. Yes, I saved this for the end deliberately. F and F pull up, yeah. You guys already know my feelings about Pearl. She's the devil. Simple as that. I don't know how many times I have explained this, and I don't know how many different ways I can explain this. But if you're going to work with Pearl, you're not going to work with me. And that's been my policy for a long time. There's a possibility I might do a show, a cross-platform show with Mike, myself, Myron, Fresh, possibly Andrew Wilson if he's available, and anybody else, and Pearl, versus, I don't know, whoever she can get from Daily Wire, who she knows there, and she wants to go do a multi-show cross-platform thing on whatever podcast, then I will be happy to sit across the table from her, and the first thing out of my mouth will be, why did you want to give me Brittany Venti nudes? Just saying, expect that. Expect me to call you out. Expect me to be the asshole in the situation, because that's what I'm going to do. And I will call out all of your bullshit. And that will be, you want to clear the air? Then we're going to clear the air live in front of, I don't know, 10,000, probably more than that, 30,000 live views for a show like that. Trust me, it'll be a very well watched show, and whoever gets it gets it. But just know that the first things out of my mouth will be, why were you trying to pass Brittany Venti nudes to me through Glenn Lawrence, who I no longer really work with either? So why would you do that? I think a lot of people trust Pearl way more than they should, and including Myron and Fresh. And that's why I'm always sort of dumbfounded by you got to remember, it was Myron who told me from the jump, man, that Pearl was a snake. And I'm like, okay, she's a snake. Good enough for me. And then I learned that the hard way last year. And I don't think I need to reiterate why, but I will if people really want to know. But I've gone through several explanations of the whole thing, and she's not to be trusted. And quite honestly, I think she is a net negative to the manosphere. She is literally only a part of the red pill or a part of the manosphere to make it look bad. That is the function she serves. So whenever there's anybody talking about from Daily Wire talking shit about the red pill, hers is the only name that comes up. Just happened a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, right? When it was all the usual suspects from Daily Wire, and they're talking shit about the red pill because it must have been a slow fucking news week for them. And Candace Owens is sitting there looking like she's uncomfortable and has to go to the bathroom, right? And the only name that comes out is Pearl. And the reason for that is because she's the patsy. She is the one that is there to make everyone in the red pill look bad. And that's the only function she has. She does nothing for the community, does nothing for the manosphere, does nothing for the red pill. She is worse than Chris Williamson. And why do I say that? Because she's the one who goes and throws out the Molotov cocktails at, 16-year-old girls are hotter than 23-year-old girls, puts that in a tweet, and guess what happens? They put that on, they hold that, put it on ice, and then wait until it's a slow news week, and then they talk shit about Pearl. She can't defend a position. She's been on, for fuck's sake, she's been on Ethan Klein's show. She's been on H3H3 and just got eviscerated. Throw her on every except for the first one, every single episode or show she's ever done with Pierce Morgan, she is only there to look like an idiot. She's only there to preset a particular narrative. Now, what do I mean about that? If you guys saw the show I did with Dr. Phil, the very first one, not the second one, because there's two parts to that one. In the first part, I did not even know this. Now I can talk about this now. Finally, I can talk about this now. When I went on Dr. Phil, there was a kid that came on right before me, and his name was Ben. He was the bald kid, and he was definitely on the spectrum. Kind of looked like maybe he had Asperger's syndrome, maybe he was autistic or whatever. And I did not know. The producers never told me that this kid was going to be on the show. I didn't find out about Ben until 5 minutes before we were supposed to do call, right? We were supposed to get in there and go to the green rooms and stuff. And I still didn't know who he was. So it was a surprise to me to see him up there. And now, if you know anything, if you saw that episode, if you haven't, go watch it. But here's why. Here's the thing about Ben, okay? Ben was supposed to be a follower of Andrew Tate, and he was basically mouthing all the words that Andrew Tate did, and he just doesn't know any better. I felt bad for the guy because he was being used. He was a patsy for Dr. Phil and the producers of Dr. Phil. They put him up there with the express intent of characterizing or presetting this flavor or idea or this atmosphere that the red pill is ridiculous, and that anything that came out of Andrew Tate's mouth or his proxy Rollo Tomasi, who happened to be sitting in the seats, being on the show, anything that Ben was talking about, and it was ridiculous because the kid, he was talking about how he didn't want to be married, but he gets lots of girls, and you look at the kid, you go, this guy doesn't fuck. Are you kidding? And everybody looked at him like this is a retarded child who is up there, and he's just been duped by these red pill manipulators. He's been duped into thinking that he's actually attractive, and he's not. And he's mouthing the words, all right. And he's trying to say, being a man means you construct things and you build things and your burden of performance, and mouth whatever he happened to hear of my work through Andrew Tate. But his sole purpose for being on that show was to create, that's why they put him on first, right? To create the atmosphere, create the narrative. It's what I call tilling the fields, is to make the red pill seem ridiculous before I came on. Now, they did that because I think the producers knew who I was, and I didn't give it to them. I saw it. I saw it. They telegraphed this a million times, from 10 miles away, right? And so I saw this, but I said, the only reason they have him up there, and I asked him later on, I said, have you been prescribed with Asperger's syndrome? Because they kept me and him together later on in that show, but nobody else. And he said, yeah, I've been prescribed, I've been diagnosed. And I was like, okay, well, that's all I needed to know. But his purpose, his function for that show, if you watch that show, why would they be? like later on when we're having the conversations later, and we talk about superfluous this and Imran Ahmed and Richard Reeves, and we had Carolyn was on there too she's the divorce attorney. Good conversation. Now, once you get past that good conversation, you think about the beginning, like, why did they put him on there? They put Ben on there as the village idiot to say only village idiots are into the red pill. That is Pearl's purpose, to be Ben on a larger scale, to be the idiot that everybody can go, well, the red pill guys are ridiculous. Look at Pearl. Look what she said. She did this guitar song about the Austrian painter. She did, she's a racist. She was working with Nick F. the Fuhrer. He worked with Nick the Fuhrer, and all the rest of the shit that was going on. And it's like, she looks ridiculous. No one should take her seriously. And they're right. They shouldn't. But they keep throwing her up there as the best representative of the red pill. Pearl Davis is the retarded kid that they give the football to at the end of the homecoming game, and they make the kid run into the end zone. So he thinks that he won the whole game of the homecoming game, and everybody's like, yay, idiot kid goes and scores a point. You won the game. Yeah. He's like, I won the game. Yeah. And it's this pandering. And it only serves one purpose. And the purpose is this, is that it's to make the red pill look ridiculous. And as such, you are a hindrance and an obstacle to the guys who have already been in this chat right now saying, like, you saved my life. Because if guys think that the red pill is ridiculous, if you're the obstacle, if you're the tripping stone for those guys getting the information they want, you are complicit in those guys not getting that information and possibly damaging themselves. I'm not going to say how. As a result of that, that's why I have a problem with you and will for the foreseeable future, forever, as far as I'm fucking concerned, because I'm the idiot. I'm the one who trusted you. I'm the one who trusted Pearl Davis for a second time. I got fucked for it. Mea culpa. My bad. Was it, fool me once, your fault. Fool me twice, my fault. My fault. Never again. Don't care. Don't care. I don't work with, I'm going to quote Rich Cooper. I don't work with retards, and I don't work with retards who work with retards. Simple as that. You want to work with Pearl Davis? That's on you. You want that association? You want the village? You want the Ben association with that? That's on you. Not on me. Will not co-brand with that. You want me to go on a debate with her and the other idiots from Daily Wire? I'm willing to do that because I think that would serve a purpose. But don't put me on stage. Don't put me on the show with Pearl without expecting me to call her out on all the bullshit. Because that will be, before we get started, let's clear the fucking air. Just so all you fucking idiots know who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a retard. You're dealing with the retarded kid that carries a football into the end zone. And you guys are the ones that put the fucking ball in their hands. That's you. So there you go. See you next week. Anybody else? What do you got here? I think that was it. No more supers. All right. Well, it sounds good to me. Here's the thing. No, you don't. Don't give me an apology. There's nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can do. Zero. And that's it. Sorry, not sorry. Yes. All right, guys, I'm out. I think that'll be a good way to end this show. I will see you guys from Red One Studios, and I won't look like this. This is the guy that gives Pearl Davis clout. But that's it for me today. And I will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. Going to be a different studio. I'll be at Red One. It'll be I think you guys are going to like it because it's going to be a multi-camera setup. It's the one that I've been using, but we're making some refinements, and I think you guys are going to really like the production value of it. It's at least as good as this. But there you have it. Thanks for watching. And I will, by the way, anything that you guys have questions about, anything that I've talked about, you have any comments, discussions, whatever, you don't have to leave a comment in the comments. You can always hit me up on Instagram or Twitter as well. So there you go. I will see you guys very soon.
But I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools, please do the same. Time came by when over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again. Would you like to know more? Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best in my life. I mean, well, sometimes don't get no holes, man. Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty?
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stuffing with her head like she's Claudia Kelly. So baby, come ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting nasty, working up and down on your body. Ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Baby, when you're down to it all night. Maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
The City Podcast has been a production of the Rational Male. Registered trademark 2024, all rights reserved. Chris Williamson, don't steal my stuff.
Wrong. If maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need emotion. Maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best in my life.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.